Chapter 190. Leng Yidao stood up slowly. With a flash he arrived at the square. Leng Yidao from Snow-Seeking Sect, who wants to fight me? Everyone's eyes were burning with excitement. Even Lin Xian's eyes were filled with anticipation. Swish! A figure dashed out like a ball of flame crashing into the ground. Zhongguang from Earth-Fire Sect. Great! Leng Yidao was expressionless as his aura gradually rose. Swoosh! A dazzling saber radiance lit up as Leng Yidao appeared on the other side. Clang! Leng Yidao sheathed his saber and stood proudly. That's it. Everyone looked at each other, not understanding what had happened. However, the elders from various forces nodded slightly. The martial artists from the first and second echelon looked solemn. Junior brother Lin, what happened? Lu Yang and Wei Wei didn't understand either. They could only ask Lin Xian, who was beside them. What a fast saber! Lin Xian's body tensed up as he said in a deep voice. In that instant he struck out 9 times. Every saber was aimed at Zhongguang's vital points. If it was a battle of life and death, Zhongguang would be dead by now. 9 sabers! Lu Yang and Wei Wei were stunned. They didn't even see one saber. Both of them were top 50 martial artists on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, but they didn't even see Leng Yidao's attack clearly. At the same time, they were surprised by Lin Xian's strength again. Swish! Swish! Zhongguang's armor shattered and fell to the ground. Thank you for showing mercy. Zhongguang's face was filled with fear. In that instant he felt the threat of death. Who else would like to fight? Leng Yidao looked calm. Next, a few more people attacked. They were top 20 martial artists on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, but they couldn't block Leng Yidao's saber skills. In every battle, he would end it with one saber. Such a fast saber skill. It's similar to the Wind Emperor's sword, Lin Xian murmured. He was inspired by Leng Yidao's saber skills. At the same time, he had a deeper understanding of the Wind Emperor's sword. Maybe my Wind Emperor's sword can reach such a speed. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Swish! After sending the last opponent flying with one strike, Leng Yidao stood in the field. No one dared to challenge him. He swept his gaze around, and wherever he looked, the martial artists lowered their heads. Suddenly, his gaze fell on Lin Xian. 1 breath, 2 breath. Leng Yidao's gaze did not leave. Is he going to fight with Lin Xian? Everyone was shocked. Lin Xian was also slightly taken aback, but his expression did not change. Well, fight again when you've grown up, Leng Yidao said in a deep voice instead of attacking. Sure. Lin Xian smiled. I look forward to that day. Lin Xian calmly agreed. Leng Yidao actually made Lin Xian his opponent. Looks like this Lin Xian's potential is truly terrifying. Many warriors stared deeply at Lin Xian, their eyes filled with dread. Leng Yidao looked away and stared at Lin Feng. His aura continued to rise, and a sharp saber intent burst out. Can we fight? Leng Yidao asked in a deep voice. You're no match for me, Lin Feng said arrogantly. We'll know whether I'm your opponent or not after we fight. Leng Yidao took a step forward, and azure cold air gushed out in all directions. The shocking saber intent seemed to split the sky. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts, as if their souls were being suppressed. Is this saber intent? It's so terrifying. In the same realm, no one is his match. Many cultivators smiled wryly. Facing this kind of aura, they could not control their bodies, let alone attack. Lin Feng's white robe was whiter than snow. He took a step forward and instantly arrived at the square. He held the long sword at his waist, and an invisible wave spread out. At this moment, everyone's weapons were buzzing and trembling, as if they were about to soar into the sky. Many warriors could only struggle to hold on to their weapons, their faces filled with horror. Apart from the elders of various forces, only Meng Yan, Yu Sun, Leng Yidao, and Lin Xian were not affected. The former two were stronger than Lin Feng, so they were not affected. The latter two were because they had comprehended saber and sword intent. Sensing Lin Feng's strength, Leng Yidao looked dignified. He raised his long saber high and stared straight ahead. Take my saber. Leng Yidao's speed was extremely fast. His body turned into a thin line and rushed out rapidly. The blade was shining with cold light, cutting the air in half, and countless waves of qi rolled behind him. Cut! An illusory saber shadow swept past everyone's hearts, making them tremble. Lin Feng pulled out his long sword, and his sword intent soared to the sky. The huge sword chi seemed to be able to cut the sky and the earth. The two astonishing wills collided, constantly rubbing in the air, and even producing thunder and lightning. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. Thunder and lightning intertwined, and fine sword chi and saber light were mercilessly colliding with each other. Ah! Lung Yidao shouted, and his saber intent burst out to the extreme, annihilating everything. On the opposite side, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly became sharp. An even sharper aura burst out from his body, which made people feel despair. This is... Everyone's expression became dignified. A smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. He held a glass of wine and slowly drank it. Lin Xian's knuckles turned white when he sensed the power. Even if it's sword intent, it has different levels. Lin Feng laughed, and a huge sword chi crashed down, shattering Lung Yidao's saber light. The remaining sword chi slashed towards the crowd. Seal! The elders of the snow-seeking sect were already prepared, and a transparent ice wall appeared from the ground, forming a barrier. Boom! The remaining sword chi slashed the ice wall, producing a clanging sound, and countless white lines appeared on the wall. However, it couldn't break the ice wall. Everyone was astonished. For the first time they had a deep understanding of the strength of a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. Even someone as strong as Lin Feng couldn't break the defense of a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, with his shocking sword intent. This was a natural moat. Once one entered the three spirit realms, the difference between their strength and the spirit sea realm was like heaven and earth. In the field, Lung Yidao's face was pale, and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. Although he looked a bit dispirited, his eyes were even brighter. I didn't expect your sword intent to reach the small success level. I will challenge you again. Lung Yidao turned around and returned to his seat. Congratulations to the Lin clan for producing such a genius. Congratulations, young master Lin Feng. Congratulations, brother Yi. A group of people congratulated them. Lin Xian's heart was heavy, and he felt the pressure. Not only was Lin Feng's cultivation strong, but his sword intent had also reached the small success level. In the younger generation, there was almost no one who could defeat him. Such an opponent made Lin Xian excited. He felt the blood in his body boiling, and the sword intent seed in his body was trembling, as if it was about to fly out. Small success level sword intent? I'm looking forward to it. Lin Xian shouted in his heart. Lin Feng pushed Lung Yidao back, and then casually glanced at Lin Xian. His eyes were full of contempt. Finally, he looked at Yu Sun and Meng Yan. Lin Feng's eyes flashed, but no one knew what he was thinking. In the end, he didn't attack. Sister, why don't we exchange some pointers? Chapter 191. Ice Fairy nodded slightly and her body floated out like a cloud. Everyone's hearts were burning with passion. To be able to see two peerless beauties fight, just thinking about it made them excited. I won't go easy on you. Yu Sun smiled slyly and her spiritual power spilled out like moonlight. Silver light sprinkled down and intertwined in the air, covering Ice Fairy. Ice Fairy waved her hand and the cold wind in the air swayed. A frost spread and everything within 10 meters was frozen. The silver spiritual energy was also covered in a thick layer of frost and became extremely slow. In such a place, the combat power of an ice element warrior could be multiplied several times. Some cultivators whispered to each other, their words filled with deep dread. Under normal circumstances, no one was willing to fight with an ice element warrior in the snow province. Yu Sun smiled gently and waved her lotus-like arm. The dreamy spiritual power was activated again. The moonlight power seemed to be able to change into any form. Even if a part of it was frozen, more of it still rushed to Ice Fairy. The two of them fought quickly and in the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. Lin Xian's purple spiritual eyes flashed as he carefully observed the situation in the field. He found that although Ice Fairy's attack was fierce, it did not cause much damage to Yu Sun. However, Yu Sun's attack was like moonlight, pervasive and causing Ice Fairy a lot of trouble. After 100 moves, Ice Fairy was grazed by a ray of moonlight and suffered some minor injuries. In the end, Yu Sun won. As a warrior ranked second on the hidden dragon list, Yu Sun did not cause as much of a sensation as Lin Feng. However, she defeated Ice Fairy so easily that no one dared to underestimate her. Everyone was amazed and then looked at Meng Yan. He was the first on the hidden dragon list and his strength was above Lin Feng and Yu Xuan. Everyone was looking forward to him making a move. However, Meng Yan had no intention of making a move. He still sat and drank. The banquet lasted for a few more hours before it ended. Everyone returned to their residence and prepared to leave the next day. Xian, are you really not going back with me? Second Master Lin asked with concern. No, second uncle. I will go back in a year. Lin Xian's eyes were firm. After saying goodbye to second uncle Lin, Lin Xian went to the residence of the Xiantian sect again. After exchanging a few words, Lin Xian left. There's still one more year. It won't be easy to defeat Lin Feng. Lin Xian thought. Not only had Lin Feng's sword energy reached the small success level, but his cultivation had also reached the 6th celestial layer of the Ling Ocean layer. It could be said that he had no shortcomings. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He also had sword intent and an offensive saint technique like the Great Dragon Sword Seal. He also had Wine Lord's guidance. As long as he worked hard, he would definitely catch up with Lin Feng. Elder Gu, when will the Battle of the Inscription Tower begin? Lin Xian came to the Myriad Treasure Tower and asked. 3 months later in Feng Province's Dragon Rocky City, Elder Gu said slowly. It's like this. I want to train by myself. Lin Xian said. 3 months later, I will definitely arrive at Dragoncliff City on time. Elder Gu and the others vaguely knew about his relationship with the Sword Pool Mansion, so they did not stop him. After receiving a positive response, Lin Xian's face lit up with joy. There's one more thing. I hope the elders can help. I hope the elders can pretend that I left with the Myriad Treasure Tower. I don't want to attract the attention of others. Lin Xian had offended many forces. He was afraid that these people would kill him after knowing that he left alone. He was not afraid of ordinary opponents, but if there was a 7th celestial layer spirit realm or a harmonious spirit realm expert secretly attacking, he would not be able to resist at all. Don't worry about this. We will help you keep it a secret. Elder Gu said. Then he took out another item. This is a jade pendant that can cover your aura. Take it with you. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian received the jade pendant with a face full of joy. After bidding farewell to the people of the Myriad Treasure Tower, Lin Xian left quietly. There's someone. Wine Lord reminded. Lin Xian felt a chill in his heart. He actually did not sense it, which meant that the strength of the person who came far surpassed him. Fortunately, he had the jade pendant that Elder Gu gave him. His entire body did not emit a trace of aura. An obscure aura swept past, not letting go of any place. Lin Xian held his breath and remained motionless like a statue. Fortunately, the jade pendant that Elder Gu gave him was very magical. That aura did not detect Lin Xian's existence. When that aura disappeared, Lin Xian turned into a flash of lightning and quickly ran out of the snow-seeking sect. Along the way, he encountered a few probing auras that were extremely powerful. It was not something that he could fight against. Lin Xian's face was cold. He did not need to think to know that it should be those old fellows from those families. After leaving the snow-seeking sect safely, Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. He did not stop and ran into the distance. In the secret palace of the snow-seeking sect, there was an old man with a long beard sitting on a piece of ice. Who? The surrounding black fog surged and rolled continuously, finally forming a black-robed man. Kiki, the plan is going smoothly. The black-robed man said in a low voice. Old Monster Shui, I helped you break through to the spirit transformation realm. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise? Lord Netherworld General, don't worry. I won't go back on what I promised you. When the time is right, I will help the Nether Hall unify the Xia country. The white-robed old man said slowly. The black-robed man laughed with satisfaction. This time, not only will the Nether Hall awaken, but even a guardian of the Saint sect will awaken. When the time comes, not only the Xia country, but the entire Tiannan region will submit. The long-bearded old man was silent. When he heard the words guardian, his pupils shrank and a trace of shock appeared on his face. The night was like water and the moonlight was hazy. Tonight there was no snow in the sky. The world was exceptionally quiet. The snow on the ground of the snow province was very thick. An ordinary person could step on it and reach their knees. Lin Xian walked quickly and did not leave any footprints. My weakness now is that my cultivation is too low. Lin Xian sighed. His strength was not bad, but he had not cultivated for long. His current cultivation was only at the third sky of the spiritual sea realm. This event made him realize that the geniuses on the hidden dragon roll were not just for show. He had to catch up with them in terms of cultivation to become a true powerhouse. Lin Xian made a plan in his heart for the next 3 months. The first was to cultivate and look for treasures. If he only cultivated in seclusion, it would be difficult to raise his cultivation level in a year. Under normal circumstances, it would be good to raise his cultivation level from the third sky of the spiritual sea realm to the fourth sky of the spiritual sea realm. Therefore, Lin Xian needed to look for some spiritual herbs. The second was to cultivate inscriptions. He had to win the battle of the inscription tower in 3 months. Only then could he enter the legendary inscription tower. The third was to raise his sword intent. If he raised his sword intent to the small success stage, his combat power would increase by several times. The Dragon Rocky city of the Feng province was at the border of the Xia country. It was 2 provinces away from the Snow province. He had to hurry there now. After making up his mind, Lin Xian could not help but speed up. Chapter 192. Lin Xian traveled through the night at an extremely fast speed. When the sky brightened, he was already very far away from the snow-seeking sect. Those old guys definitely wouldn't be able to find him. Wuji Wuji. The little white monkey jumped down from his shoulder, pointing at the ground and crying non-stop. What's wrong? Lin Xian didn't understand. The snow-white little monkey kept gesturing in a very lively manner. Lin Xian immediately understood. You're saying that the green-haired man is still alive? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Wuji. Wuji. The little white monkey nodded with a look that said, please believe me. Could he be underground? Lin Xian was puzzled, but he didn't dare to stay. Who knew if the green-haired man was still afraid of the little white monkey? Lin Xian didn't dare to joke around with his life. Using the wind thunder steps, Lin Xian quickly left. The vast snowy mountain was white as far as the eye could see. The mountain was covered with tall and straight cedar trees that looked like long spears. There were many demonic beasts hiding among them. The demonic beasts in the Snow province were even more difficult to deal with. Firstly, they could hide in the thick snow. Secondly, these demonic beasts all knew ice elemental skills. For example, Lin Xian encountered an ice snake that suddenly jumped out from the ground and spat out a large amount of ice fog. This ice fog could not only slow down one's speed, but it also had a certain chance of freezing one into ice. Fortunately, Lin Xian's reaction was quick. With his outstanding soul power, he was able to move through the snowy mountain smoothly. Roar. A deafening roar caused the snow on the tree to fall. A 5-meter-tall snow-white demonic bear roared angrily and ruthlessly swiped at Lin Xian with its big claws. Swish! With a flash of sword light, Lin Xian landed on a treetop. Boom! The tall figure fell down with a loud crash, and the wound was immediately frozen by the cold. The little white monkey jumped down quickly. With a wave of its little paw, it took out a blue demonic crystal and ate it like candy. Then it jumped onto Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian was astonished. This was a rank 4 demonic beast. Its demonic crystal contained a terrifying amount of power, as well as a dense demonic qi. Even he did not dare to easily absorb it, but this snow-white little monkey was not affected in the slightest. Lin Xian still hadn't discovered anything strange about the little white monkey. Presumably it hadn't grown up yet. Since you're willing to eat demon crystals, I'll let you eat to your heart's content. Lin Xian shuttled through the forest. His purple spirit eyes flickered as he quickly searched for demonic beasts in the snow. The beasts he found were all rank 5 and below. Every time he attacked, he only needed 1 strike and his speed was extremely fast. This was the Wind Emperor's sword. He was inspired by Yi Dao Lung and had a new understanding of the Wind Emperor's sword. Now, even if his sword speed was not as fast as Yi Dao Lung's, it would not be too far behind. In the next few days, Lin Xian hunted demonic beasts as he traveled. The demon crystals were all eaten by the little white monkey, but it didn't change at all. Lin Xian looked at it suspiciously, but the little white monkey actually showed a look of disdain. Wuji Wuji. The little white monkey pointed at the demon crystal on its finger with a look of disdain. It looked very disgusted. Lin Xian. Damn monkey, it's good enough that you have something to eat. Lin Xian used his finger to flick its head, but the little white monkey nimbly dodged it. Eh? It's so fast. Lin Xian was surprised. The man and monkey continued on their journey as fast as lightning. Huff! Huff! Unknowingly, a gust of wind blew, filling the sky with snow. It was as if a knife was scraping his face. A black hole appeared in front of him, and a gust of wind was constantly gushing out. The hole wasn't big, only 2 meters tall. The surface was covered with a thick layer of ice, and there were all kinds of icicles on it. Wuji wuji. The little white monkey pointed at the hole and threw away the demon crystals in its hand. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. He didn't need to think to know what the monkey meant. Fine, I'll go in and take a look. He swayed his body and ran towards the hole. The closer he got to the hole, the stronger the wind. When he was 10 meters away from the hole, the wind could almost blow away a martial artist in the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Lin Xian focused his eyes and stabbed out with the autumn scar sword. Splitting wind style. The gust of wind in front of him seemed to be torn in half, blowing to both sides. A vacuum appeared in the middle. Shoo! Lin Xian didn't hesitate and quickly flashed in and out. After he entered, the torn gust of wind gathered together again, becoming even more violent. Lin Xian entered the hole and became careful. Purple spirit eyes flashed. He was like a ghost, not making a single sound. On his shoulder, the little white monkey was very cooperative and didn't make a sound. It was dark inside the hole and there was also a chill. For some reason, although the gust of wind at the hole was very strong, there wasn't any wind inside the hole. Under the observation of the purple spirit eyes, Lin Xian didn't find anything. He could only quickly walk forward. He could feel that he wasn't walking straight but walking towards the ground. Because he had already walked a few hundred meters, there wasn't any mountain that was this wide. Finally, light appeared in front of him. Lin Xian became even more careful. He first used his soul power to check, and after confirming that there was no danger, he walked over. This was a white hole. The ground was filled with white bones, and many of them were sealed in ice. There were no living creatures around, and Lin Xian found that these bones were filled with teeth marks. This should be a beast hole. He walked around and found that there was another world inside. In an inconspicuous corner, Lin Xian found a small hole. He lowered his head and walked in, and was instantly stunned. Although this hole wasn't big, it was very clean, and there weren't any bones or anything like that. In the center there was a snow lotus blooming with light. Good stuff. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He carefully identified it, and finally confirmed that it was a 1,000-year-old snow lotus. If he used it to brew spirit wine, it would definitely speed up his cultivation. Thinking of this, he reached out to pick it. Wang! A ripple appeared, stopping Lin Xian. There's a seal. Lin Xian's face darkened. The autumn scar sword pierced out, carrying the power of wind and thunder, and instantly crashed into the seal. Puff! Lin Xian used 80% of his strength in this attack, and broke a hole in the seal. However, the restriction was quickly restored. This is not a normal seal. It can absorb the surrounding spirit chi and automatically repair itself. Without the strength of a harmonious spirit realm, it is impossible to completely break it. Winelord said slowly. Lin Xian rubbed his chin and his eyes flashed. Wuji wuji. The little white monkey blinked its big eyes and cried out, as if it was eager to give it a try. You? Lin Xian was suspicious. Wuji. Wuji. The little white monkey gestured with 2 fingers, and then pointed at the snow lotus. You want to split it equally with me? Lin Xian understood what it meant. The little white monkey nodded, and then patted its chest hard as if saying, Don't worry about me. Lin Xian was speechless. This guy was actually negotiating with him. Finally, he agreed. Alright, as long as you can take it out, I'll give you half. The little white monkey was overjoyed, and its big eyes blinked with joy. Lin Xian focused and stabbed out with the autumn scar sword, piercing a hole in the seal. Shoo! Chapter 193. In the blink of an eye, the little white monkey disappeared. When it came back to its senses, it was holding a fist-sized snow lotus in its arms. Lin Xian broke the snow lotus in half. He gave one half to the little white monkey and kept the other half carefully. The little white monkey quickly stuffed the snow lotus into its mouth and swallowed it. Wooji wooji. It jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder and curled into a ball. What a waste. Lin Xian's face was pained. This snow lotus is an item of extreme cold. If you can find something of extreme yang, I can make you a pot of good wine. Wine Lord chuckled. Anyway, we have to pass by the fire province this time. I can look for it when the time comes, Lin Xian replied. He looked around again and suddenly raised his eyebrows. The spiritual energy here is so dense. Wine Lord sensed it and said softly, "This should be a spirit gathering array that gathers the spiritual energy in the surroundings. Could it be that someone wants to cultivate this snow lotus?" Wine Lord said lightly. Suddenly his face changed. "No. This snow lotus is just a little older. There's nothing special about it. Could there be something else here?" Kid looked down. Wine Lord guessed. Lin Xian's purple spirit eyes flashed and looked down. "There's a cloud of blurry blue gas and a piece of ice," Lin Xian transmitted. "Open it and take a look. Maybe there's something good," Wine Lord said. Lin Xian began to attack the restriction. The result was the same as before. "I don't believe it." Lin Xian's face was tense. He kept slashing at the restriction with the long sword in his hand. The little white monkey rolled its eyes and finally went into the storage ring. Lin Xian cursed under his breath and continued hacking at the restriction. Clanging sounds continued to ring out, filling the small cave. Fortunately, there was no one else. Otherwise, it would be annoying. 3 days later, the restriction finally let out a cracking sound and shattered into pieces. Lin Xian's face paled as he breathed a sigh of relief. He sat cross-legged on the ground, took out a cup of spirit wine, and began to recover. This was the spirit wine he had brought out from the trial of blood and fire, and he had already drunk half of it. As his cultivation increased, the effect of the spirit wine gradually weakened, but it was still good for recovering spirit energy. 1 hour later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He slowly stood up and prepared to dig into the ground. "Be careful, don't break the things down there." Lin Xian activated his purple spirit eyes and used the autumn scar sword to dig bit by bit. The layer of ice gradually thinned, and Lin Xian could feel the chill in this space growing stronger and stronger. Could it be something strange? He felt his hair stand on end. Not only his body but even his soul was trembling. Continue, Wine Lord urged. Gritting his teeth, Lin Xian continued to dig. Finally, all the layers of ice were broken, and a wisp of cold air emerged. Ka. Once this cold air emerged, the surroundings quickly froze, forming ice cubes. Lin Xian felt a wave of cold air rushing towards him, giving him goosebumps. Shoo! Without any hesitation, he used the wind thunder steps and ran out. The cold air in the air stuck to his clothes, quickly freezing them. Crackle! Golden electric arcs jumped, and thunder and lightning intertwined, shattering the ice. That was close. Lin Xian let out a breath. Just the cold air that leaked out was already so powerful. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the cold air itself was. Looking back, the small cave was sealed in ice. It's the mystic ice chi. Wine Lord was surprised. Legend has it that the mystic ice chi is the coldest chi, and is usually born with strange items. There must be something good inside. But I can't even get close. Lin Xian sighed. Don't worry, I can take away the mystic ice chi, Wine Lord said with a smile. Then I'll give it a try. Lin Xian used the wind-splitting style to shatter the ice cubes and quickly flashed in. The surroundings were still cold, but the mystic ice chi had returned to the ground. Lin Xian looked over and saw a round platform with a diameter of 0.5 meter. It was emitting cold air. Ice platform. It's really something good. Wine Lord laughed. What's the use of it? Lin Xian asked. It can speed up your cultivation. It's just right for you. Lin Xian was overjoyed when he heard this. When he looked at the ground again, his eyes were shining. Let's take it first. As he spoke, a black hole appeared in front of Lin Xian and slowly rotated. The ice platform underground was sucked up, and the mystic ice chi on it crazily scattered. Lin Xian didn't move. He knew that Wine Lord had a way. Sure enough, the black hole kept rotating and sucked away all the mystic ice chi. Wooji. The little white monkey suddenly jumped out and cried out happily. Lin Xian was startled, afraid that something would happen to the monkey. The little white monkey sucked hard, and a trace of mystic ice chi flew out and was sucked into its body. The little monkey revealed a satisfied expression, and then burped. The little white monkey's eyes were a bit dazed, and it went back into the storage ring. Lin Xian sighed. It seemed that the little white monkey was really strange. It didn't fear such a strange cold item. In the blink of an eye, the ice platform was taken away by Wine Lord. The mystic ice chi attached to it was also taken away. Let's go. There's nothing left. Lin Xian nodded, and then turned into a blur and quickly left. Walking in the dark tunnel, Lin Xian was very excited. Just now, he had thought of a way to deal with the blue-haired man. It was to use the mystic ice chi to seal the blue-haired man. Wine Lord also felt that this method was not a problem. The two discussed for a while and decided to act as soon as possible. After leaving the cave, Lin Xian was not in a hurry to leave. He wanted to set up a trap and bait the blue-haired man. A night snow fell. Lin Xian found a dry cave and prepared to rest. Lin Xian closed his eyes and cultivated. But in reality, he spread out his soul power to observe the situation. Be careful, he's coming. Wine Lord transmitted. Lin Xian's heart trembled. He deliberately did not let the little white monkey appear in order to bait the blue-haired man. Whoosh! A ray of green light quickly pierced towards Lin Xian, and in the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Lin Xian. A huge sense of danger welled up in his heart, but Lin Xian did not act rashly. He waited for the blue-haired man to come closer. His legs kicked and his body flew out like a spring. The green light swept towards Lin Xian and sent him flying. Lin Xian's blood surged, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! A figure flashed and a large palm grabbed towards Lin Xian. The fingernails were long and sharp, and there was a strange energy flowing on them. If he was caught, he would definitely die. Lin Xian looked at the palm, and his heart was in his throat. He knew that he only had one chance. If he failed, he would either die or alert the blue-haired man. If that happened, he would have no chance at all. Just as the green fingernails were about to touch him, Lin Xian made his move. A wisp of mysterious ice chi flowed out and wrapped around the blue-haired man's hand. In the next moment, the blue-haired man seemed to have encountered something terrifying, and quickly retreated. Ka-ka-ka. Just as he moved, the cold chi quickly spread throughout his body, emitting a terrifying chill. This was the real mysterious ice chi, not the cold chi on Lin Xian's clothes. The power of the two was not the same. Once touched by the profound ice chi, even a harmonious spirit realm expert would be frozen. Chapter 194. In front of him a huge ice sculpture stood on the snowy ground, emitting a terrifying chill. Lin Xian smiled with satisfaction. This mysterious ice chi was indeed powerful. Even the mysterious green-haired man was frozen. A black whirlpool appeared and sucked in the ice sculpture. I split this ice chi into 5 strands, one of which froze the green-haired man, leaving 4 strands. Wine Lord said. Lin Xian rubbed his chin. Doesn't that mean I can still freeze 4 more old fellows? The Tsang clan, the Golden Sword clan, and the Yuan clan wouldn't let him off. Even Lin Feng's bloodline might make a move against him. But now the situation was different. Stupid! Wine Lord snorted. This mysterious ice chi is a rare treasure. It can be used to increase your strength. Freezing others is just a small matter. Increase my strength? Lin Xian was delighted. From now on I will use the mysterious ice chi to refine you. Wine Lord said. Not only can it refine your body and spiritual energy, it can also increase your soul strength. Refine my soul strength? Lin Xian was surprised. As far as he knew, the cultivation of soul strength was very slow and very dangerous. It was much more difficult than spiritual energy cultivation. That was why there were so few inscriptionists in this world. Let's try the ice platform first. Lin Xian took a deep breath. A circular ice platform appeared on the ground. It looked like a piece of art. Lin Xian sat on it and prepared to cultivate. As soon as he touched the ice platform, his body couldn't help but shiver. The cold almost made him cry out. Fortunately, his willpower was strong and he forced himself to endure. Lin Xian quickly activated the long life secret art and entered a state of cultivation. His body was covered in ice, his face and his eyebrows were all covered in ice. Lin Xian closed his eyes, as if he had turned into an iceman. Whoosh! The snow-white monkey flew out and jumped on the ground, its big eyes looking at Lin Xian. Wooji wooji. It was bored for a while, then it sniffed the air and ran away. In the snow-capped mountains, a group of people was shuttling through the forest. Stop! Suddenly the entire group stopped. Young master, what's wrong? A gray-robed elder asked. What a strange little monkey. It was a young man wearing a fur coat. His eyes were greedily staring at a small white monkey on a tree in front of him. Wooji wooji. The little monkey on the tree was Lin Xian's little one. It was eating an unknown fruit, its eyes full of disdain. It's so intelligent. It's much stronger than the demonic beasts back at home. The young man was overjoyed. He pointed at the monkey and said, This young master wants it. Don't worry, young master. This old servant will catch it right away. The gray-robed old man's body moved and flew up to the treetop like lightning. Then, he waved his hands mercilessly. Wooji wooji. The little white monkey screamed twice, and then disappeared with a whoosh. The gray-robed elder was surprised. He was a martial artist in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and his speed was unimaginably fast. However, the little white monkey still managed to escape. This should be a mutated monkey. Young master, don't worry. It can't escape. There! Someone in the group exclaimed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The gray-robed elder kept dodging to catch the little monkey, but it escaped. Go together and catch it for this young master. The young man was furious. Many people went forward. Only 3 martial artists were left to guard the young man. They stood in a very strict position, protecting the young man in the center. Not long after, these people returned empty-handed. Young master, that monkey is too cunning. No. A few people whispered. Trash, a bunch of trash. The young man was furious and kept shouting. Young master, I think we should go to the snow-seeking sect first. At this time, Chu Lao and the others should have already arrived. The gray-robed elder said. That country is really boring. It wasn't easy to find something good, but in the end it ran away. The young man's face was gloomy. Let's go to the snow-seeking sect. The group of more than 10 people went on their way again. However, after a few steps, countless snowballs flew over. Pung pung pung. Someone in the group was hit and snow splashed on his face. Although it didn't hurt, it made him feel very embarrassed. Who is it? Come out. Someone shouted. Wooji. Wooji. A mocking voice came. In the snow ahead, a palm-sized monkey bent over laughing. It's it. Everyone was angry, except for the young man whose eyes were shining. This young master orders all of you to catch it. Many people in the group dashed out. Even the young man moved out quickly. The group of people started to catch the monkey. However, the little white monkey was too fast. These people could only eat the dust behind it. Fortunately, they didn't lose it this time. A trace of anger appeared on the little white monkey's face. Its black gem-like eyes turned and then it ran towards the cave. Whoosh! The little white monkey jumped and returned to Lin Xian's side. Hey, there's someone in front. Someone in the group exclaimed. I don't care if there's anyone. If this young master wants it, it's mine. The young man didn't have any hesitation and rushed forward. The people behind him could only follow. It's frozen. Is it frozen to death? Someone was puzzled. Everyone looked at the figure in front of them. That person was sitting on a block of ice. His whole body was frozen and he was motionless. This young man was Lin Xian. He didn't expect that the little white monkey would bring back such a group of people. The gray-robed elder's eyes flashed. He stared at the block of ice that Lin Xian was sitting on. Young master, we're rich. The gray-robed elder's voice trembled slightly. If I'm not wrong, that should be the legendary frost platform. That's a treasure for cultivation. The gray-robed elder was excited. He couldn't wait to snatch it. Frost platform? The young man pondered. The others in the group were also confused. With it, your cultivation speed can increase by 3 to 5 times. The gray-robed elder quickly explained. Gulp! Gulp! The sound of saliva being swallowed could be heard from the group. The group of people all stared at the round ice block. What are we waiting for? Hurry up and snatch it for me. The young man's eyes lit up. Immediately, a few people rushed over and tried to grab the frost platform. Hua! Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was like a sword, cold and frightening. Crack, crack, crack. The block of ice on his body shattered, revealing Lin Xian's real body. The few people stopped and looked at Lin Xian cautiously. The gray-robed elder's expression changed. He spoke first. My young master has taken a fancy to the stone you are sitting on. Why don't you name a price? Stone. Lin Xian's lips curled up. He had heard their conversation. Slowly standing up, Lin Xian waved his sleeve and put away the frost platform. Not for sale. Lin Xian said coldly. Wuji wuji. The little white monkey jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder and gestured. Kit, do you know who we are? How dare you talk to our young master like that? Someone in the group shouted. All right, stop talking nonsense. The young master was obviously impatient. Chapter 195. That youngster was very arrogant. Not only did he want to rob, but he also threatened to cripple Lin Xian and feed him to the wolves. Which family's disciple was this to be so cruel? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked at the group of people in front of him. There were about 10 people, all at the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier and above. Among them, the gray-robed elder reached the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and the 3 people beside the youngster were at the peak of the 5th layer. With this kind of combination, other than the old monsters at the harmonious spirit realm, no one feared them at all. Lin Xian didn't make a move. His body flashed and he was about to leave. Want to leave? Not so easy. The 3 martial artists near Lin Xian attacked instantly, 3 surging waves of power gushing out. If it was a normal martial artist at the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean tier, he would have died under such a pincer attack. Lin Xian used the wind thunder step and dodged the 3's attacks. He can actually dodge? The 3 martial artists were surprised. Attack with full force. This youngster has a great treasure on him, so his strength must be extraordinary. The gray-robed elder said. Kill him directly, don't hold back. The 3 martial artists at the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier smiled malevolently and surrounded Lin Xian. Youngster, when you reincarnate in your next life, keep your eyes open. Daring to offend our young master, you're courting death. The 3 attacked together, and the terrifying waves of power were enough to injure a martial artist at the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Lin Xian's eyes focused. These people kept looking for trouble and didn't put him in their eyes at all. He wasn't one to look for trouble, but he wasn't afraid of it either. Now that someone wanted to kill him, he obviously wouldn't show mercy. Lightning storm. Within 10 meters there was a sudden storm and lightning, as if it was the end of the world. Pitter-patter. With a loud sound, the 3 fell to the ground, their bodies charred black. What? The people on the other side were stunned, unable to believe it for a moment. The gray-robed elder's face was gloomy as he kept sizing up Lin Xian, as if thinking about something. Youngster, you dare to kill my people, do you know who I am? The youngster roared, his eyes full of anger. He came to Xia and didn't put anyone in his eyes, but he didn't expect to suffer a loss in this snow mountain. Go kill him. Brat, surrender obediently. The gray-robed old man said coldly. Although your strength is extraordinary, you have no chance of winning against us. Moreover, our elders are guests at the snow-seeking sect. Do you think you have a chance to escape? Since the fight had started, Lin Xian could not possibly let these people leave. His body turned into a ray of light and quickly rushed over. With a flick of his finger, the autumn scar sword appeared in his hand. Chi! With a flash of sword light, a martial artist fell to the ground with a loud bang. Everyone back off! The gray-robed elder yelled. He could tell that Lin Xian was extraordinary, and that normal martial artists at the 4th sky of the spiritual ocean realm were no match for him. The group retreated and stared cautiously at Lin Xian. Elder Zhou, let us do it. The 3 martial artists who had been protecting the young master said. All right. The gray-robed elder nodded. The 3 of them appeared in a flash and surrounded Lin Xian in a triangular formation. Let me see what level the martial artists of the Xia are at. One of them snorted coldly. Lin Xian was slightly surprised. It seemed that these people were not from the Xia. Then he had even less to worry about. If he let these people go, they would definitely chase after him endlessly. Moreover, there were elders at the snow-seeking sect. Those who could be called elders should be old monsters at the harmonious spirit realm. For his own safety, Lin Xian could only use his full strength. With a swing of the autumn scar sword, a sharp sword light flew out. Shadow sword formation. The three of them worked together and performed a formation, trapping Lin Xian within. A human figure flew out with a sharp sword in his hand, thrusting towards Lin Xian. Wind-splitting style. With a thrust of the sword, the human figure was mercilessly torn apart and turned into energy again, merging into the sword formation. Wind-blending style. The soundless sword chi pierced towards one of the martial artists. The air was torn apart as the dazzling sword light slashed towards that person's waist. It's useless. With the three of them working together, the sword formation shone brightly, dissolving Lin Xian's attack. We have even trapped a martial artist at the sixth sky of the spiritual sea realm. Not to mention a brat at the third sky of the spiritual sea realm. Hand over the thing and we'll leave your corpse intact. Or else. Humph. The three of them sounded cold as their attacks suddenly became sharp. Dozens of sword shadows flew towards him from all angles, covering his entire body. The sword chi screamed as if they were real swords. The power was comparable to an attack from a martial artist at the sixth sky of the spiritual sea realm. Lin Xian's body also turned into countless phantoms, flying in all directions. Chi 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 chi. Almost 90% of the phantoms were pierced through by the sword chi. Lin Xian's real body was also attacked. Dang! He raised his sword to block, but his arm was numb from the impact. Such terrifying power. Lin Xian was slightly shocked. This sword formation could combine the power of the three of them, releasing the power of a martial artist at the sixth sky of the spiritual sea realm. And when they were attacked, they could split the attack into three parts, sharing the burden. Lin Xian's purple spirit eyes flashed, and he understood in an instant. I can only break their sword formation. Purple light flashed in his eyes, and an invisible soul power pierced towards one of the martial artists. That martial artist screamed, and the aura on his body froze. Wind Emperor's sword. Lin Xian operated the sword intent, unleashing the Wind Emperor's sword, and piercing towards that martial artist. Blood splattered and a sword cut the throat. The sword formation broke by itself, and the remaining two martial artists were shocked. Their sword formation had never failed, but today it was broken by someone, and one of them died. You courting death. The two of them were furious and attacked crazily. Sword intent surged and Lin Xian's aura rose to the extreme. Sword intent, it's actually sword intent. The two martial artists' faces were pale, and their auras were suppressed. The people in the distance were shocked when they came, as if they didn't expect to see martial artists who comprehended sword intent here. Your sword intent may be strong, but your cultivation is weak. Die. The two of them resisted the pressure, and their long swords pierced towards Lin Xian fiercely. Soul assassination. Lin Xian unleashed the purple spirit eyes attack, and his strong soul power turned into a sharp spike, piercing towards one of them. Lion's roar. Lin Xian attacked consecutively, unleashing the sound wave attack again. The two of them were shocked mentally, especially the martial artist who was hit by the soul assassination, who lost his mind for a short while. In a battle between experts, they fought for the initiative. The autumn scar sword was as cold as water, and with a flash of light, a head flew away. The last martial artist was terrified and retreated crazily. Devil, he's a devil. Too horrifying. Two martial artists in the fifth layer of the spiritual ocean realm died so easily, and the opponent was a martial artist in the third layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Is he still human? Are all the martial artists in the Xia so powerful? All of a sudden, the group of people in the distance turned pale, and it was terrifyingly quiet. Lin Xian waved his long sword, and a 2-meter-long half-moon-shaped sword chi flew out like moonlight. Pooh! The big man who ran away was cut in half, falling onto the ground. Gulp! The group of people took 2 steps back uneasily, and the arrogant young master's face was also pale. Elder Zhou, he shouted nervously. Don't worry, young master. He's not my opponent. The aura inside the gray-robed old man's body completely exploded, like a raging sea, making his heart tremble. Lin Xian's aura froze, and he felt a pressure that made his movements slow down, as expected of a martial artist in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Kid Die. Chapter 196. Eagle Claw Hand. 5 streaks of light flew out from his fingers, forming a giant claw dozens of meters long in the air and crashing down. Hong! The ground cracked open and 5 deep trenches appeared. Dozens of meters long, hideous and terrifying. Lin Xian dodged quickly, and a blue bead appeared in his hand. This was a thunder bead, obtained from Tsang Lei that day. It was said to be able to kill all martial artists below the 7th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Lin Xian charged out, sprinting towards the gray-robed old man. In the sky, the giant eagle claw appeared again, slapping down in an extremely fierce manner. Air-piercing sounds rang out one after another, as if 5 spears pierced out, piercing through the air. Lin Xian was like a wisp of smoke swaying in the wind. He dodged all the seemingly dangerous attacks. Whoosh! Moving again, he flicked out the thunder bead in his hand. The thunder bead seemed to merge into the wind, not producing a trace of fluctuation. Only when he approached the gray-robed old man did the latter discover the existence of the thunder bead. The youth in the distance had a cold smile on his face. He decided that after capturing Lin Xian, he would torture him to death. However, a deafening rumble woke him up. The place where the gray-robed old man was shrouded in a terrifying lightning energy. A radius of dozens of meters was filled with blue lightning, as if thunder dragons were rolling. Lightning flashed everywhere, and the group of people was stunned. That young master's expression was extremely interesting, changing many times before finally revealing panic. Young master, don't worry. Elder Zhou is a martial artist at the 6th level of the spiritual ocean tier. He should be fine. The lightning dissipated, and the situation inside was revealed. A huge pit dozens of meters in diameter and dozens of meters deep. The top was charred black. The gray-robed old man was covered in blood. One of his arms seemed to have been blown off, and a terrifying wound appeared on his chest. Brat, I want you dead. The gray-robed old man's expression was hideous, and with every word, he would spit out large amounts of blood. He was severely injured. If you didn't have bad intentions back then, there wouldn't be such an outcome now. Lin Xian's voice was cold. You brought this upon yourselves. Wind Emperor's sword. His body became erratic, as if he was in a dream, and his speed was extremely fast. As the sword light flashed, the gray-robed elder's eyes widened and he fell to the ground with hatred. Lin Xian turned around and looked indifferently at the group of people in the distance. You don't come over. The young master's voice was trembling. He no longer had the arrogance from before. We are from Shadow Country's Chu family. If you kill us, you won't be able to escape. Lin Xian was silent as he walked forward step by step. Remember, you must be a good person in your next life. His voice was cold as he slowly raised his sword. Run! This group of people couldn't hold it in any longer and fled in all directions. As long as one of you escapes, you will die without a burial ground, the young master said with a ferocious expression. Really? Lin Xian stabbed out with his sword, and a green-gold sword wave spread out in all directions with him as the center. Puff! Puff! Any martial artists that encountered the sword wave were all chopped into 2 halves. The attack range of the wind and thunder sword wave was very large, and now it could kill everyone within 20 meters. None of those martial artists escaped, including the young master, who was also chopped into 2 halves by the sword wave. Taking away these people's storage rings, Lin Xian quickly left this place. Who? A cold wind blew and snow filled the surroundings. Quickly covering these people, Lin Xian ran all the way towards Fire Province. He tamed a snow wolf as a means of transportation, and he himself was always in a state of cultivation. Seeing that he was about to reach the border of Snow Province, Lin Xian woke up from his cultivation. He was now at the peak of the 3rd layer of the spiritual sea realm, and would soon break through to the 4th layer of the spiritual sea realm. This was all thanks to the ice platform. Otherwise, he would need at least 2 to 3 months to reach the peak of the 3rd layer of the spiritual sea realm. Looks like your progress is faster than expected, Winelord said with a smile. You can proceed to the next step. Lin Xian nodded. He naturally knew what the next step meant. Now that he had adapted to the cold air of the ice platform, he could try to use the mysterious ice chi to refine his body. Of course, no matter how strong he was, he couldn't directly touch a wisp of mysterious ice chi. One had to know that even someone as strong as the mysterious green-haired man was frozen, let alone him. Wine Lord divided a wisp of mysterious ice chi into 9 wisps, which could allow Lin Xian to withstand the cold air and refine his body. I can begin now, but before that I need to tidy up. He rode the snow wolf to a clean place. With a flip of his hand, the storage rings of the Chu family martial artists all appeared in his hand. Among them, Lin Xian was most interested in the storage rings of 2 people. One was the young master's, and the other was the gray-robed old man's. He first looked at the gray-robed old man's storage ring. There were 500,000 low-grade spirit stones, 3 human-grade treasures, and some medicinal pills. Other than that, there were some martial arts techniques. For example, there was a low-grade spirit class martial art called the Eagle Claw art. Lin Xian had already seen the power of this martial art. Although he was not interested in cultivating it, he could sell it for money. A low-grade spirit class martial art was worth about 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones. It was not cheap. After looking at the gray-robed old man's storage ring, Lin Xian probed the young master's storage ring with his soul force. Lin Xian sighed. The things inside were even more valuable than the gray-robed old man's. As expected of the young master of a large family, Lin Xian roughly looked and found 800,000 low-grade spirit stones, 500 mid-grade spirit stones, a mysterious grade-long spear, several martial arts manuals, and an ancient map. Just these 2 people's items were worth more than 2 million low-grade spirit stones. Lin Xian took out the map and looked at it carefully. The map was the size of 2 palms, but it was not complete. The edges seemed to have been cut by a sharp weapon. Some of the mountains were marked with red dots. Lin Xian counted a total of 5 red dots. At the bottom of the map, there was the word spirit. Spirit. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He suddenly remembered the map that Lin Feng had obtained from the auction. Spirit class treasure? His voice was full of uncertainty. Whatever, when the matter of the inscription tower is over, I'll go take a look. After putting everything away, Lin Xian sent a message to Wine Lord. He wanted to thoroughly study the blue-haired man and find out what he was. A black vortex appeared out of thin air and a huge ice sculpture fell to the ground. Lin Xian approached and stared at the blue-haired man inside. Inside, although the green-haired man was frozen, his eyes seemed to be able to move. When he saw Lin Xian, 2 green flames appeared in his eyes. Damn, he's still alive. Lin Xian cursed. Wine Lord, do you have any way to investigate his identity? Although he's just a clone, I can still put a slave seal on him and make him listen to your orders. Wine Lord smiled indifferently. Slave seal? Lin Xian's mouth raised into a smile. Then it's decided. In the ice, the blue-haired man seemed to have heard Lin Xian's words. The green light in his eyes flickered. Chapter 197. Second-grade inscription. Lin Xian muttered. He had been a first-grade inscription master for a long time, and was now able to refine first-grade spirit wine on his own. However, it wasn't easy to become a second-grade inscription master. There was a huge leap in quality from first grade to second grade. It required the inscription master's soul imprint to split into 2 imprints. In addition to having a strong soul power, it also required a special technique. However, with Wine Lord around, he didn't need to worry about the technique. All he needed to do was increase his soul power. After putting away the huge ice sculpture, Lin Xian said in a low voice, Wine Lord, start refining with the mysterious ice energy. The process will be a bit painful. Bear with it. Lin Xian nodded and formed a seal with his hands. Wine Lord injected a trace of mysterious ice energy into his body and let it travel through his spirit vein. A strange cold energy instantly spread throughout his body, as if thousands of ice needles were stabbing into his body. Not only his physical body, but even his soul seemed to have been frozen. Lin Xian's face was bitter. How is this a bit painful? This is too painful. It was 100 times colder than the ice platform. Gradually, Lin Xian's consciousness became blurry. The great dragon sword seal in his mind and the sword intent in his body roared together, releasing a will that gradually woke Lin Xian up. The immortality art circulated throughout his body. At the same time, he tried to make the great dragon sword seal resonate with the seed of sword intent to keep him awake. This unintentional action of his had a huge impact. In his mind, the great dragon sword seal seemed to transform into an azure dragon that constantly roiled. The seed of sword intent was also constantly vibrating. Finally, the mysterious small sword in his body gently vibrated and emitted a gentle light. Roar! The great dragon sword seal transformed into an azure dragon that flew out of his mind and rushed towards the seed of sword intent. The two collided and fused together perfectly. After the fusion, the great dragon sword seal flew onto the mysterious small sword and formed an image of a huge dragon. Only the dragon's head was clear and everything else was blurry. Lin Xian could feel that his sword intent had become much stronger. If it was 10% in the past, now it was at least 20%. Normally 30% sword intent was considered small success sword intent. Lin Xian was only a step away from small success. From now on, I'll call you the Great Dragon Sword Intent, Lin Xian said in his heart. As if it had heard Lin Xian's voice, the dragon pattern on the mysterious dagger emitted a dazzling light. With the Great Dragon Sword Intent, Lin Xian's resistance to the mystic ice chi was also a bit stronger. Wine Lord controlled the mysterious ice chi and was amazed. He hadn't expected the Great Dragon Sword Seal to fuse with the seed of sword intent. Maybe one day you'll really find the real one, Wine Lord whispered, his voice getting softer and softer. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Wine Lord removed the mysterious ice chi. Lin Xian's entire body had turned blue from the cold, and there was a faint blue glow on his skin. He channeled the art of longevity. The spirit ocean inside his body shook, and 3 waves rumbled. A warm current spread throughout his body. After a moment he recovered. The most direct feeling was that his mind was much clearer, and his senses were much sharper. Gently raising his hand, Lin Xian quickly drew an inscription in the air. The entire process was smooth and without any pause. The speed is actually twice as fast as before. Lin Xian was delighted. This inscription was very complicated. In the past, he would need dozens of breaths of time to draw it. But now he only needed dozens of breaths of time to complete it. Moreover, his movements were much smoother. As expected of the mysterious ice chi, the effect is really good. Lin Xian was overjoyed. I didn't freeze for nothing. Not only did his soul power strengthen, but his body also became much stronger. Lin Xian felt that his body was like a furnace, and his qi and blood were exuberant. Boom! With a punch, a vacuum zone was created in the air. If he met Yan Hui now, he could probably defeat him in one move. Lin Xian was filled with confidence. Feeling the changes in his body, Lin Xian worked even harder. He took out the ice platform and sat cross-legged on it. After drinking a cup of spirit wine, he began to cultivate his spiritual sea. The night passed in silence as he cultivated. The next day, Lin Xian rode on the snow wolf and set off again. Half a day later, he arrived outside a city. Cold Wind City. Lin Xian looked at the large words on the city gate and jumped off the snow wolf. Go back. He patted the snow wolf's head and released the control. The snow wolf howled at the sky and then quickly left. After entering the city, Lin Xian found a restaurant and ordered a few exquisite dishes, slowly tasting them. In the past few days, he had been walking on the mountain roads. His body and spirit were somewhat tired, and he needed a good rest. Cultivation was like a spring, emphasizing tension and relaxation. He couldn't be too relaxed. If he was too relaxed, he would fall behind and become lazy. But he couldn't be too tense either. Under high pressure for a long time, a martial artist would collapse. Balancing tension and relaxation was the way of the king. This restaurant was called the Snow Crane Restaurant. It was said that a peerless expert had arrived here on a snow crane, so the descendants named it after the snow crane. After going up to the 2nd floor, Lin Xian found that the windows upstairs were hollow and inlaid with ice sculptures. Most of them were carved with snow cranes. It was said that this was one of the characteristics of this restaurant. Lin Xian drank while listening to the discussions of others. The snow-seeking sex banquet had just ended, and most of the martial artists were talking about it. Did you know that the banquet this time was too exciting? A genius even appeared. Someone said mysteriously, Genius? What genius? Some people did not understand. A swordsman named Lin Xian. It is said that he comprehended sword intent. Sword intent? Most people did not believe it. Really? You haven't been there, how would you know? Humph. I didn't go, but my senior brother went. According to him, that Lin Xian is not only a genius who comprehended sword intent, but also a disciple of the Sword Pool Mansion. Sword Pool Mansion. Many martial artists suddenly realized and then began to discuss. This Sword Pool Mansion is worthy of being called a big sect in the world. First, there is a genius like Lin Feng, and now there is a Lin Xian. This is nothing. I bought the Hidden Dragon list the day before yesterday. It is clearly marked that this Lin Xian is already ranked 20th on the list. A group of people discussed, mostly around the various geniuses. Of course, the one who was mentioned the most was Lin Xian. Couldn't be helped. An unknown kid had suddenly become a martial artist ranked 20th on the Hidden Dragon roll. This change was too big. Almost everyone was paying attention to him. Hey, do you know? It is said that something big happened in the snow-seeking sect. Someone said. It seems like someone from the Shadow Country was killed on the way. His body was buried in the snow. Where is the murderer? Someone asked. I don't know. He escaped long ago. When Lin Xian heard this, his eyebrows twitched. He did not expect the Chu family to find out so quickly, but he was not afraid. He didn't leave any clues, so no one would suspect him. Chapter 198. Why are you here? I've been looking for you for a long time. A slightly coquettish voice sounded as a young woman sat across from Lin Xian. This woman was about 20 years old and had a beautiful face. She stared at Lin Xian with a pair of enchanting eyes. You must have mistaken me for someone else. Lin Xian frowned. How could that be? Even if you turned into ashes, I would still recognize you. The beautiful woman picked up the wine on the table and drank. Lin Xian looked at the woman in front of him with a puzzled expression. Suddenly, his brows twitched and he looked ahead. There were a few figures flickering about, their eyes carrying cold intent. Most of those eyes were looking at the woman across from Lin Xian. However, they also looked at Lin Xian with hostility. Obviously, they had grouped Lin Xian and the young woman together. Lin Xian's face darkened. He was inexplicably being used as a shield, which made him unhappy, especially since he didn't know who these people were. You want to use me as a shield? I'm afraid you've made the wrong decision. Lin Xian sneered and was about to leave. Wait. The young woman's face changed. She was obviously anxious. I beg you, save me. Her eyes were filled with pleading, and she had a delicate and pitiful look. The underworld is dangerous. Forgive me for being powerless. Lin Xian didn't want to be involved in other people's struggles. Please rest assured, young master. As long as you help, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Seeing that Lin Xian was unmoved, the young woman gritted her teeth and transmitted an ancient inscription. Lin Xian's eyebrows twitched. He stared at her coldly as if he would attack at any moment. The young woman couldn't help but shiver. She quickly said, Don't misunderstand, young master. You are the only inscription master in the entire restaurant. This little woman knows. Lin Xian's eyes relaxed. He knew that if a person's soul force was strong, they would definitely be able to sense other inscription masters. Is there really an ancient inscription? Lin Xian slowly asked. The young girl nodded. I hope you're not lying to me or else. Lin Xian didn't finish his sentence, but the warning was obvious. He stood up and said indifferently, Come with me. The young girl breathed a sigh of relief and followed closely behind Lin Xian. She was indeed being followed. After arriving at this restaurant, she could tell at a glance that Lin Xian was not an ordinary person. His soul power was far stronger than that of an ordinary first-grade inscription master. This made her see a life-saving straw. Lin Xian rented a pavilion with a courtyard and walked in with the young girl. All right, you can take out the ancient inscriptions now. Lin Xian said calmly. The young woman's expression changed again and again. Young master, my danger is not over yet. Seeing Lin Xian's eyes gradually turning cold, the young woman hurriedly said, The ancient inscription is definitely not a lie. As long as you can escort me to Dragon Rocky City, I'm willing to offer it with both hands. Dragon Rocky City. Lin Xian looked at the young woman with surprise. You're not afraid that he'll kill you and steal your goods? Lin Xian looked at her with a faint smile. Young master's eyes are clear. Although they are a little sharp, they are very pure. The young woman said, I believe in young master. I can escort you to Dragonrocky City, but shouldn't you tell me about your situation first? If it's a harmonious spirit old monster chasing after you, I won't be able to do anything. Lin Xian's tone was obviously much gentler. He leisurely sat down and poured a pot of tea. My name is Zhao Shui. I'm not from the Great Xia country, because I obtained an ancient inscription in being chased. The one chasing after me is the Purple Extreme Demon Palace of the Shadow Country. This time there are no harmonious spirit experts. Young master can rest assured about this. Purple Extreme Demon Palace. Lin Xian didn't know about the power of the Shadow Country. How does the Purple Extreme Demon Palace compare to the Chu family? Zhao Shui was obviously stunned for a moment, then she said, the Chu family's strength is equivalent to a 1-star sect, but the Purple Extreme Demon sect is an authentic 2-star sect. Moreover, the Chu family is a subsidiary family of the Purple Extreme Demon sect. Zhao Shui didn't hide anything, because this information could be found out with a simple investigation. If she hid it, it would cause Lin Xian to be dissatisfied. 2-star sect. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He slowly said, I can only help you within the limits of my ability. If it's beyond my ability, you can only run for your life. Thank you for your help, young master. Zhao Shui's face was filled with joy. How should I address you, young master? Zhao Shui asked. Lin Xian. Zhao Shui repeated this name in a low voice, then asked, when will we leave? Tomorrow we'll leave for the Fire Province first. At night the sky was dotted with stars. A few silhouettes were patrolling nearby, carefully inspecting the surroundings. That woman is inside. Other than her, there's also a brat in the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean realm. Just kill him. This voice was filled with disdain. Don't be careless. Although that brat's cultivation is weak, his soul power is powerful. He should be a 1st-rank rune master. This voice was very steady, and didn't underestimate Lin Xian. This time our target is the item on that woman. Nothing else is important. Purple 8 will stop that brat. The rest of you follow me to capture that woman. The steady voice said. They didn't hide their presence and directly rushed in. 5 powerful presences suddenly appeared, and Zhao Shui on the 2nd floor was obviously shocked. Lin Xian opened his eyes, and the autumn scar sword appeared in his hand. He had already sensed that there were people outside, and had been maintaining his battle state. Shua! A purple figure appeared in front of him, blocking his way. It was a young man with a purple cape on his back, and an evil smile on his face. Brat, stay there and don't move. Maybe I will leave you with a whole corpse. This young man was in the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean realm, and didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. Lin Xian sensed the situation on the 2nd floor, and knew that Zhao Shui was in great danger. Since he had promised her, he would protect her with all his might. The autumn scar sword flashed, and the Wind Emperor stabbed out. The sword light flashed through the room like autumn water, and Lin Xian's body flew out like wind and thunder. Eh? The purple-robed young man covered his throat, and fell down with endless unwillingness. Until his death, he couldn't believe that a martial artist in the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean realm could kill him with one sword. Lin Xian didn't stop, and his body flashed to the 2nd floor. Zhao Shui waved out rows of palm shadows, barely holding on. She was about to be captured. Suddenly a sword light flashed, and a green-gold sword chi fell down, saving Zhao Shui. It's you. How could you be here? Where's Purple 8? The 4 purple-robed martial artists were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to suddenly rush up. He's already gone to see the King of Hell. Lin Xian said lightly. What? You killed Purple 8. They were all furious. How dare you kill someone from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace? No one can save you. Go. Out of the 4 martial artists, 2 of them rushed towards Lin Xian, and the other 2 ran towards Zhao Shui. Thousand Snakes greeting. Lin Xian swept out his long sword, using the gold sword sex move. Chapter 199. Sword chi snakes tore at the 4 purple-robed martial artists crazily. Lin Xian pushed back two purple-robed martial artists with one strike, and with a suction force he pulled Zhao Shui behind him. Brat, how dare you obstruct our purple extreme demon palace's work? You don't know how to spell the word death. One of the martial artists roared, and his right fist suddenly shot out. The fist was fierce like a tiger pouncing, rushing over with an aura that could destroy everything. Lin Xian stabbed out with his long sword, fast to the extreme. Before the violent fist technique arrived, Lin Xian's long sword had already pierced the opponent. The defense shattered, and the armor on his body was also penetrated. The purple-robed martial artist still maintained his punching posture, but the spirit energy on his body quickly receded. Plop! The purple-robed martial artist fell to the ground, and a bowl-sized sword mark appeared on his chest. Zhao Shui stood behind Lin Xian watching this scene and covered her mouth tightly. She didn't expect Lin Xian's sword technique to be so powerful, to be able to kill a martial artist in the fifth layer of the spiritual ocean realm with one strike. The remaining three people looked terrible. Their purple extreme demon palace had always run amok in the shadow country, and who would have thought that they would fall at the hands of a brat? Zilu Ziqi, you two attacked together, the middle-aged man in the lead said coldly. Yes. The two youths attacked Lin Xian from the left and right. A blade and a sword slashed at Lin Xian. At the same time, the middle-aged man in the lead had a purple glow in his eyes, and an invisible soul force rushed towards Lin Xian. Seeing the purple glow in the middle-aged man's eyes, Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. Without time to think, he used purple spirit pupil to resist the opponent's soul attack. At the same time, he quickly stabbed out two wind fusion styles. Sword chi blended into the air silently, and with the support of sword intent, the attack power of the two sword chi reached the extreme. Pooh! Pooh! The two martial artists didn't have time to defend, and with a scream they fell down. You! The middle-aged man's expression changed. Not only was he surprised by Lin Xian's powerful attack power, but he also stared at Lin Xian's eyes. You, how did you? Whoosh! Lin Xian used wind thunder steps and arrived in front of the middle-aged man in an instant. The autumn scar sword in his hand pierced out continuously. His spiritual energy fluctuated uncontrollably, piercing many holes in the void. Bang! The middle-aged man felt the sharp aura of the sword and did not dare to face it head-on. He could only break through the window and escape. He landed on the ground and prepared to retreat. Lin Xian would not give him a chance at all. He merged his soul power into the ice and performed an offensive saint spell that relied heavily on sword will. Ice prison. The ice surface shattered, and four ice snakes bent their bodies, coiling around the purple-clothed middle-aged man's four limbs, and held them tightly. The snake's head hissed, and the cold air quickly spread throughout his body. The purple-robed middle-aged man was shocked. The purple light in his eyes shone brightly, and the spiritual power on his body burned like a flame. Pung pung pung. The ice snake was shattered by the tyrannical power, and the purple-robed middle-aged man quickly escaped. Crack! Just as he moved, a huge ice spear shot out from the ground. Golden lightning circled around the spearhead. Pierce! Lin Xian yelled in a low voice. The purple-robed middle-aged man waved his palm continuously, forming a light screen in front of him and blocking this spear. It is only a simplified version of the purple demon pupil. The purple-robed man landed on the ground and snorted. Today, I will show you the true power of the purple demon pupil. The purple-robed middle-aged man's eyes flashed, and an invisible power pierced toward Lin Xian. Who? All of a sudden, Lin Xian felt that the scene around him changed, and he seemed to have arrived in a strange space. Strangle! The purple-robed middle-aged man's voice was heard. Lin Xian felt that he could not move, and countless sharp blades pierced into his chest. Little Xian, this is the spiritual world. Hurry up and escape. Wine Lord's voice sounded in Lin Xian's mind. Spiritual world? Lin Xian realized that he had fallen into a trap. Break! A dragon's roar was heard, and a huge green dragon bared its fangs and claws. It turned into a beam of sword light and sliced through everything. Puff! The purple-robed middle-aged man spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body swayed. Impossible, how did you escape? You only have a simplified version of the demon pupil. The purple-robed man was in disbelief. Lin Xian's face was pale. He had just suffered a mental attack and almost died. What a strange attack! Lin Xian quickly attacked. Wind Emperor's sword. The power of wind and thunder worked together, and this sword was extremely fast. The purple-robed middle-aged man had just reacted when his body was hit. However, as the leader, his ability was not ordinary. In the nick of time, he forcefully turned his body and avoided the fatal attack. Puff! His chest was pierced and he was seriously injured, but it was not fatal. Thunderstrike. Countless golden arcs of electricity surged out and exploded in the purple-robed man's body. In an instant he was seriously injured. No one can offend the Purple Demon Palace. The purple-robed man's face was ferocious. You will be hunted down endlessly, and the cruelest torture in the world awaits you. The purple-robed man suddenly ignited all the spiritual energy in his body. His eyes became brighter and brighter, as if 2 balls of fire were burning. Chi! A purple light attacked Lin Xian as fast as lightning. Lin Xian raised his sword to block, but it was useless. The purple light entered Lin Xian's body and disappeared. Die in fear. The purple-robed man laughed bitterly. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. His body flashed and he quickly left. With the wind thunderstep, Lin Xian arrived on the 2nd floor in the blink of an eye. He grabbed Zhao Shui and ran away. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded, and the entire courtyard was filled with dust. The purple-robed man had chosen to self-destruct, leaving nothing behind. Lin Xian quickly left the city with Zhao Shui. The two found a safe place to rest. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He realized that he seemed to have provoked a group of lunatics. What worried him the most was the purple light that flew into his body. If he guessed correctly, it should be a marker, but Lin Xian couldn't find it. Lin Xian asked Wine Lord for help. In the end, although Wine Lord found it, he couldn't do anything in his current state. Seeing Lin Xian's purple eyes, Zhao Shui cried out in fear. You're from the Purple Demon Palace. She took 2 steps back in fear. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and they regained their clarity. This is purple spiritual eyes, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Zhao Shui also calmed down. Lin Xian killed a disciple of the Purple Demon Palace. They couldn't be in cahoots. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. It's useless to say that now, Lin Xian said in a low voice. I'm probably under a secret technique. If you follow me now, it's even more dangerous. Since we're going to be captured anyway, why don't we stay together? We can take care of each other this way. Zhao Shui didn't want to act alone. Do you have a way to remove the marker on me? Lin Xian asked. Zhao Shui shook her head. The Purple Demon Palace's pupil technique is very special. Other than them, no one can remove it. Lin Xian fell into deep thought. According to the purple-robed man, it wasn't difficult for him to guess that purple spiritual eyes was an imitation of the purple demon eyes. However, it was much weaker than the real purple demon eyes. Not to mention the attack, he couldn't create a spiritual space like that. Purple spiritual eyes couldn't even detect the marker in his body. Chapter 200. Which two? Lin Xian asked via voice transmission. First, advance to a 2nd-grade inscription master. At that time, with your soul power, you should be able to remove it. Second, maybe that little girl's ancient inscription can give you some inspiration. Wine Lord explained the 2 methods. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Advancing to a 2nd-grade inscription master wasn't something that could be done in a short time, but people from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace could appear at any time. If a martial artist in the 6th or 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier came, Lin Xian and Yi Xian would be in trouble. Miss Zhao, there might be a way to remove the mark on my body. Are you willing? Lin Xian asked in a low voice. What way? Zhao Shui asked. She naturally hoped that Lin Xian would be fine. Can you let me take a look at that ancient inscription of yours? It might be useful to me. This? Zhao Shui was stunned. Her eyes flashed and she seemed to be struggling. Wuji. Just as Lin Xian was waiting, the little white monkey suddenly appeared. It scratched its little head with its claws, seeming to understand Lin Xian's current situation. The little white monkey jumped onto Zhao Shui, blinking its black gem-like eyes. Shua! With a flash of white light, something appeared in the little monkey's hand. This is... Lin Xian was stunned. Just now, the little white monkey's speed increased again, and he didn't see it clearly at all. Zhao Shui was even more surprised, almost crying out. The little white monkey grinned and returned to Lin Xian's side with the thing in its arms. Taking the thing from the little monkey's hand, Lin Xian looked at it carefully. It was a round stone with a rough surface. On the other side of the stone, there were engravings of an eyeball and a scara. It's actually an eyeball. Lin Xian was surprised. He looked at Zhao Shui, only to see the latter's face full of shock. Is this the ancient inscription you were talking about? Lin Xian suddenly had a thought. Zhao Shui nodded sadly, her expression somewhat unnatural. Don't worry, I'll return it to you when I'm done, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Zhao Shui raised her head slightly, a look of surprise in her eyes. When ordinary inscription masters encountered such ancient inscriptions, most of them would go crazy. How could they be like Lin Xian, who was so calm that it was terrifying? How could she have known that Lin Xian had too many good things on him? The value of the mysterious small sword and the great dragon sword intent were both above that of the ancient inscription. Placing the stone eyeball in his palm, Lin Xian stared at it. With purple light flashing in his eyes, Lin Xian slowly approached with his soul power. Wang! The stone eyeball suddenly glowed, and a strange rune appeared on its surface. Lin Xian had never seen such a complicated inscription before. It was far beyond his knowledge. He couldn't comprehend what it contained, so he could only copy the diagram into his mind for the time being. After making sure that he copied it correctly, Lin Xian returned the stone eyeball to Zhao Shui. Zhao Shui carefully caught it and then said softly, "You're a good person." Lin Xian smiled bitterly and didn't respond. Instead, he closed his eyes and began to study the ancient inscription he obtained. It didn't matter if he couldn't understand it. With Wine Lord as an inscription master, Lin Xian wasn't worried at all. After passing the ancient inscription to Wine Lord, Lin Xian began to cultivate. He took out the ice platform, sat on it, and then operated the secret of longevity. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the third layer of the spiritual sea realm, and with the battle tonight, he had a feeling that he was about to break through. Zhao Shui felt a chill. She looked at Lin Xian in surprise again, and then held the stone eyeball and began to comprehend. Both of them were trying their best to increase their strength, leaving only the little white monkey rolling on the ground. But fortunately, the little monkey didn't leave this time, and didn't attract a group of people. 2 hours later, Lin Xian's aura became stronger and stronger. Around him there were 3 layers of wave-like ripples, emitting strong energy. Above them, the 4th layer of waves was faintly discernible, emitting an even stronger power. Zhao Shui was awakened by this aura. Her mouth opened slightly, and she looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. With her cultivation at the 5th layer of the spiritual sea realm, she actually felt powerless in front of Lin Xian. This wasn't pressure from the aura, but the quality of the spiritual power. She found that Lin Xian's spiritual power quality was very high, almost no less than a martial artist at the 5th layer of the spiritual sea realm. This was all thanks to the secret of longevity. Lin Xian's spiritual power quality and quantity were equivalent to a martial artist at the 5th layer of the spiritual sea realm. And his strength was equivalent to a martial artist at the 6th layer of the spiritual sea realm. Boom! A majestic aura spread out like a wave, blowing away all the snow around. Lin Xian slowly opened his eyes, which shone brightly. He felt that his whole body was full of power. Now he could already compete with a martial artist at the 6th layer of the spiritual sea realm. Congratulations on breaking through, young Master Lin. Zhao Shui said from the side. Thank you, Lin Xian said lightly. He wasn't too surprised. For him, breaking through was a matter of time. Rest, we'll head to the Fire Province tomorrow. Zhao Shui nodded and began to comprehend again. The night was silent. The next day, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui set off early. The two used lightness techniques and quickly shuttled through Lin Xian. Half a day later, they left the Snow Province. Not long after they left, several purple-clothed people came to the small courtyard where Lin Xian used to live. It was already a flat ground, with only some debris left. The 3 purple-clothed people's auras were very powerful, far from what the previous people could compare to. How dare you kill the people of the Purple Demon Palace? Even if you escape to the ends of the earth, we'll catch you and let you taste all the torture in the world. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The 3 turned into purple shadows and disappeared on the spot. Green Province, the vast mountains. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui subdued 2 demonic tigers and used them as transportation, quickly shuttling through Lin Xian. Lin Xian held a map of the Xia kingdom and said, "After passing through this forest, we'll reach the Fire Province. This is the fastest way. Then let's speed up." Zhao Shui was a little anxious. The 2 demonic tigers turned into a demonic wind and kept moving forward. Along the way, the 2 were silent and cultivated separately. "Little Xian, I took a look at the ancient inscriptions, and I've roughly divided them into 2 categories." Wine Lord said slowly. "The first category is soul absorption, which can create a spiritual space to attack. The second category is soul fire, which is very powerful but also very dangerous. I think that stone eyeball died because it used too much soul fire." Lin Xian communicated with Wine Lord through their souls, and he realized that Wine Lord had divided the ancient inscriptions into several simplified inscriptions. He knew that Wine Lord had specially modified it for him, because his cultivation level was not high enough, and it was too difficult for him to understand. Lin Xian separated a part of his mind to control the demonic tigers, and began to study the inscriptions given by Wine Lord. Originally, he couldn't understand the ancient inscription at all, but now he could completely understand it. Moreover, he also knew why the Purple Extreme Demon Palace wanted to snatch this inscription. If he guessed correctly, the Purple Demon Palace's eye technique should be similar to the one displayed by the Stone Eyeball. Chapter 201. It had to be said that Wine Lord was too powerful. He could actually evolve so many eye techniques from an ancient inscription. Lin Xian was very interested in the soul fire. He realized that Wine Lord had split the soul fire attack into 2 inscriptions. One was for the physical body and the other was for the soul. Obviously, the soul attack was more dangerous. According to Wine Lord, the soul fire would turn into a ball of flame and burn the opponent to ashes. However, this flame was very overbearing and would also cause damage to the user's eyes. Soul fire. Lin Xian kept repeating. Can it be transformed into a soul sword? After all, I have the Great Dragon Sword intent. It would be a pity if I don't use it. Lin Xian asked. In theory, yes, but it seems more dangerous. Wine Lord said slowly. Practice the first inscription first. Let me think about this soul sword. In the following days, Lin Xian began to comprehend the first inscription. The purple light in his eyes flickered and gradually formed an inscription. However, it quickly dissipated. Lin Xian wasn't angry. He knew that this eye technique couldn't be learned in a day. It needed to be practiced diligently. 3 days later, a strange inscription appeared in Lin Xian's right eye. It emitted a mysterious aura. In the distance, a goshawk flew by. Lin Xian's right eye aimed at the goshawk and his soul power vibrated. Wang! He seemed to see the goshawk's soul being pulled into an independent spiritual space, and he was the master of this space. In an instant, the goshawk in the sky froze and fell straight down. Go! Lin Xian cancelled the spiritual space and released the goshawk's soul. Pooh! 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 The 10-meter-long goshawk spread its wings and quickly escaped. Lin Xian slowly exhaled. He had just mastered the spiritual space and could only maintain it for 3 breaths of time. However, as his soul power increased, the duration would become longer and his spiritual space would become more complete. In about 2 days we will reach the Fire Province. Zhao Shui said quickly when she saw Lin Xian wake up. When she saw that Lin Xian's eye technique had improved again, she was greatly shocked. One had to know that she had been comprehending it for such a long time, but she had only scratched the surface. Lin Xian, on the other hand, seemed to know more than she did. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from afar, shaking the surroundings into silence. The demonic tiger that Lin Xian was sitting on shuddered, as if it was also frightened. Lin Xian was astonished. These 2 demonic tigers were ranked for demonic beasts, and as tigers they were the kings of all beasts. But now, a single roar had actually caused their bodies to tremble. One could only imagine how powerful the demonic beast in the distance was. Zhao Shui also seemed to know the danger. She said in a tender voice, "Let's go around it." Lin Xian nodded and was about to agree. Suddenly, the snow-white little monkey rushed out and gestured at Lin Xian. Are you saying there are treasures? Lin Xian's face lit up. The last time the snow-white little monkey had such an expression was when he obtained the frost platform and the mysterious ice aura. Wuji wuji. The snow-white little monkey bared its teeth, and its gem-like eyes squinted into a crescent shape. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian called out to Zhao Shui. Young Master Lin, let's not go. It's better to reach Dragon Cliff City earlier. Zhao Shui had a worried face. I came out this time to gain experience, and there are still 2.5 months before the Battle of the Inscription Tower. There is enough time. Lin Xian did not stop. Instead, he controlled the demonic tiger and rushed in the direction of the roar. Zhao Shui gritted her teeth and could only follow quickly. Although there were many demonic beasts in the forest, some of the weaker ones were shocked when they saw the 2 demonic tigers. As for the stronger ones, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui could rely on their outstanding soul power to dodge. Therefore, the 2 of them traveled very smoothly. Roar! Another earth-shattering roar sounded, as if countless thunderbolts were descending. Lin Xian seemed to feel the restlessness of the golden electric arcs in his body, and there was a trace of doubt in his heart. Could it be related to thunder and lightning? Lin Xian guessed. Then all the more we can't miss it. The closer they got to the roar, the slower the 2 demonic tigers moved. In the end, the 2 demonic tigers stopped moving, and their bodies lay on the ground trembling non-stop. To cause such an effect, it was at least a 5th-tier demonic beast, which was equivalent to a martial artist in the 7th layer of the spiritual C tier. Zhao Shui had a worried face. Young Master Lin, are we still going? Yes, I feel that there is a treasure there, and that thing seems to be fated with me, Lin Xian said. Zhao Shui looked at Lin Xian with surprise in her beautiful eyes. It said it, I'm just translating. Lin Xian pointed at the snow-white little monkey with a smile. The snow-white little monkey sat on Lin Xian's shoulder, crossed its legs, and held its chin with its paws, nodding seriously. Zhao Shui's mouth twitched, and her expression was very unnatural. She realized that Lin Xian and that monkey were both freaks. 2 people and 1 monkey abandoned the demonic tigers and quickly ran forward. In the distance, a faint pressure came, making Lin Xian and Zhao Shui's souls tremble. What a terrifying demonic qi! This aura far surpasses that of a 5th-tier demonic beast. Zhao Shui still had lingering fear. Now she also had a trace of curiosity in her heart. Did you notice that the air is filled with the aura of thunder and lightning? Lin Xian had golden thunder and lightning in his body, and his senses were even sharper. Zhao Shui's soul turned and sensed for a while, then had a look of approval. There is indeed the aura of thunder and lightning, and its grade is very high. Could it be a thunder beast in front? The 2 used their soul power to cover their bodies, not letting out a trace of aura. They were both first-grade inscriptionists, so it was easy for them to do this. The snow-white little monkey also calmed down, lying on Lin Xian's shoulder. Let's go, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 2 turned into afterimages and ran like leopards. Crackle! After advancing for a while, Lin Xian found that the surrounding branches had a trace of thunder and lightning aura. It must be a thunder beast, but I don't know what kind it is. The 2 confirmed again. Finally, the 2 were getting closer and closer to the thunder beast. Moreover, they also found other people. Lin Xian's soul power spread out, and his eyes flashed as he looked into the distance. It's them. Suddenly he exclaimed, as if he had found something interesting. The group of people in front was none other than the Tsang family of Qingzhou. There were about 50 people scattered in front of them. Lin Xian thought for a while and understood. The Tsang family's martial arts were related to thunder and lightning, so it was not surprising that they would appear here. There is a group of about 50 people in the east, Zhao Shui said. The west side is about the same, and those people are my old enemies. Lin Xian said slowly. What should we do? Zhao Shui asked. Since we are here, we can't go back empty-handed, Lin Xian said with a smile. Chapter 202. Zhao Shui's worries were reasonable. A harmonious spirit expert could already control the spirit qi of an area. It was not something a Sea of Soul Realm warrior could compete with. Of course, we won't be its opponent in a head-on confrontation. But hunting this kind of lightning beast will be very chaotic. Lin Xian said with a smile. If we are careful, we will have a chance. Moreover, we don't have to fight. If there is really danger, we can just leave. Then that's the only way. Zhao Shui sighed. Without Lin Xian, she wouldn't dare to take such a risk. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui carefully retreated. There was no need for them to show their faces now. Only when the two sides started fighting would they have the chance to take action. To the west of Lin Xian's group, a group of warriors gathered together. These warriors were from the Tsang family. Their qi was as strong as the ocean, unfathomable. One of them was the great elder of the Tsang family. His qi was restrained and his eyes were slightly closed as if he was asleep. Report. From afar, a Tsang family disciple quickly arrived. Swoosh! The great elder opened his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword that could pierce through people. Report to the great elder. The lightning beast is still dormant in the cave and hasn't come out yet. The warrior quickly said. Moreover, a lot of people from the Yang family came as well. The leader seems to be the Yang family's patriarch. Yang family. The great elder's eyes flashed. Send someone to watch them. If there is any movement, report it immediately. Also, we must get the lightning source this time. Yes. Everyone's heart trembled. Their Tsang family had suffered too many blows recently. Not only were the younger generation heavily injured, even the great elder was injured. The one who caused all of this was a guy called Lin Xian. Originally, they wanted to catch Lin Xian after the snow-seeking sect's great assembly, but who would have thought that he had already slipped away? Fortunately, the heavens were kind to the Tsang family. They found a lightning python that was shedding its skin. Originally, a 7th-grade demonic beast strength was equivalent to a spirit-detecting expert, but the thunder python couldn't display its full strength during the molting process. It was only at the level of a harmonious spirit realm warrior. As long as they were well prepared, the opportunity would be theirs. They didn't need to kill the thunder python, they just needed to get the python skin. Although it was old, it contained endless power of thunder and lightning. It was absolutely a top-quality thunder source. While the Tsang family was preparing, the Yang family was also rubbing their fists in anticipation. Monitor the surroundings, don't let the news leak out. The Yang family patriarch issued an order. The Tsang family suffered heavy losses this time. Not only did they lose an elder at the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, their head elder was even injured. At this time they still want to compete with us? What a joke! The Yang family head sneered. As long as we can obtain the thunder source, our Yang family will be able to surpass the Tsang family. We might even become the overlord of the Qing province. A day later, the disciples of the Tsang and Yang families began to seal off the mountain, not allowing anyone to enter this area. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui didn't know about the sealing of the mountain. They found a peculiar grass in a valley. It was about the size of a palm and shaped like lightning. It was silver gray in color and contained a thick power of thunder and lightning. This is thunder grass, Zhao Shui exclaimed. It only grew in places with abundant thunder and lightning. She didn't expect to see it here. There were dozens of thunder grasses growing in the valley. The violent power of thunder connected together, forming an electric net. Just as Lin Xian and Zhao Shui wanted to collect it, the martial artists of the Tsang family and Yang family also found this place. The martial artists of the two families were on guard against each other, and looked at the thunder grass in the valley at the same time. Brat, it's you. Immediately, a Tsang family martial artist recognized Lin Xian. The heavens are indeed kind to our Tsang family. Several Tsang family martial artists walked over with hideous grins. Brat, accept your death obediently. Can you deal with those few? Lin Xian looked at Zhao Shui. No problem. Zhao Shui nodded in agreement. Her strength had been increasing rapidly these days. Attack together. Be careful of his sword and tint. The Tsang family martial artists didn't let their guard down and chose to attack together. Rushing Thunder Fist. Wild Thunder Blade. In an instant, all kinds of attacks were launched at Lin Xian, forming a sea of thunder. Swish. Lin Xian used the Wind Thunder Step and quickly dodged the attacks. Then his eyes flickered with a purple light. In particular, an inscription appeared in his right eye. Buzz! The two Tsang family martial artists at the front stiffened as if they had lost their souls. Puff! Sword light flashed and two heads flew, spraying blood in the air. What? The three Tsang family martial artists behind him were shocked. They didn't know what had happened. However, in the next moment, an invisible soul fluctuation attacked them. The three of them only felt their bodies tremble as if their souls were being sucked away. The light dimmed and the three of them found themselves in a space the size of a house. Their hands and feet were tightly cuffed and they couldn't move. Countless sharp sword rays surged out from all directions and pierced through them. Ah! The three of them screamed in pain and kept twitching. However, they found that they weren't dead. With a flash of white light, their bodies recovered. Then countless blades looked at them. They didn't know how many times they had experienced this, but in reality it was just a blink of an eye. Puff! Puff! Lin Xian put away his sword and turned to look at the other side. There Zhao Shui stood with a smile on her face. The 6 martial artists in front of her had flushed faces and were hacking at each other crazily. Soon all of them fell. What a powerful illusion! Lin Xian praised. Zhao Shui smiled sweetly. Her eyes seemed to be able to steal a man's soul. Compared to young Master Lin, this servant is far inferior. Lin Xian wasn't affected at all. He smiled faintly and turned around. These thunder grasses are useful to me. I want 70%. Zhao Shui nodded in agreement. Firstly, she wasn't a lightning attribute martial artist. Secondly, she still needed Lin Xian's protection. Getting 30% was already good enough. Lin Xian's hand flashed with golden electric arcs, forming a small shovel. With a wave of his arm, he dug out a stalk of thunder grass. In a moment he had already dug out 14 stalks. The remaining 6 stalks were taken by Zhao Shui. Did you get any useful information? Lin Xian asked. He just got some information from the Cong family's martial artists. Among them were information about the Cong family and the Thunder Beast, but there was nothing about the Yang family. Zhao Shui nodded and said softly, that Thunder Beast is a 7th-rank Thunder Python. Because it needs to shed its skin, it's in a weakened state. Its strength is around the harmonious spirit realm. As for the Yang family, a total of 73 people came. 1 harmonious spirit realm, 5 7th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, 12 6th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, and the rest are below the 6th level. After saying this, she looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled faintly. Regarding the Thunder Beast, I got the same information as you. And the Cong family's strength is about the same as the Yang family. 1 harmonious spirit realm, 6 7th-level spirit sea realm martial artists, and 10 6th-level spirit sea realm martial artists. However, according to what I know, the Cong family's harmonious spirit realm martial artist was injured not long ago. He shouldn't have peak strength. Chapter 203. Perhaps only Lin Xian had the guts to snatch food between 2 harmonious spirit experts and a 7th-rank demonic beast. According to the information I received, the Thunder Python has not started to shed its skin yet. It will probably take a few days. It's best if we can increase our strength to the next level. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui simply cultivated in the valley, while waiting for the Cong and Yang families to make their move. Holding the thunder grass in his hand, Lin Xian felt a surge of thunder energy. Just a few spiritual grasses have such power. I wonder how powerful the thunder source will be. Lin Xian was excited. As long as he could obtain the thunder source, his strength would increase again. Only then could he reduce the gap between him and Lin Feng. Thunder surged on his body as he began to absorb the power of the thunder grass. The blue thunder collided with the golden electric arcs in Lin Xian's body, creating a rumbling sound. The electric arcs scattered around like snakes, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Fine cracks appeared on the stone he was sitting on. Lin Xian's mind moved and the ice platform appeared under his feet. Sitting cross-legged on the ice platform, he closed his eyes and began to absorb the power of the thunder. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the thunder grass in Lin Xian's hand began to wither. The thunder energy on it was completely absorbed. He did not stop there. He immediately took out the second grass and continued to refine it. 2 hours later, the 5 thunder grasses were completely consumed. Lin Xian opened his eyes. Crackle! Following his awakening, a powerful aura gradually filled the air. Lightning snakes danced in the air, flying in all directions. With Lin Xian as the center, the area within 20 meters was like a sea of thunder. In the distance, Zhao Shui's face was filled with shock. How long had it been? Lin Xian's strength increased again. This guy, his speed of improvement is too fast. Zhao Shui muttered softly. She even suspected that Lin Xian was not a teenager at all, but had been possessed by an old man. Zhao Shui puts away the stone eyeball and prepares to get up. However, in the distance, Lin Xian sat down again. Air. Zhao Shui was speechless. Don't tell me he wants to continue cultivating. What a freak. According to her estimation, Lin Xian must be a special existence in China. Even in the Shadow Country, there were not many people like Lin Xian. There was a reason why Lin Xian sat down again. It was because Wine Lord wanted to teach him a body-tempering martial art. Thunder tattoo body, Lin Xian murmured, a trace of movement in his eyes. This thunder mark body is an earth-tier martial skill. After mastering it, one will be invulnerable to swords and spears, water and fire. It can be said to be a body-refining precious skill. Wine Lord slowly said, there are a total of 3 realms. They are Copper Thunder Mark, Silver Thunder Mark, and Gold Thunder Mark. With your current strength, it would be good if you could master the Copper Thunder Mark. Lin Xian suppressed the joy in his heart and began to cultivate according to Wine Lord's teachings. According to Wine Lord, even this Copper Thunder Mark was equivalent to a high spirit tier body refining martial skill. Streaks of copper lightning appeared on the surface of his body, forming a strange thunder mark. The thunder mark flickered and quickly disappeared. Lin Xian simply abandoned his body and began to gather all the lightning on his right hand. The sea of lightning rolled and constantly attacked the meridians in his arm. At the same time, countless thunder marks formed on the surface of his body. Half a day later, the lightning disappeared. A layer of copper patterns appeared on Lin Xian's right hand, emitting a powerful force. Putting away the ice platform, Lin Xian jumped to the ground and blasted the ground. Pung! With a loud sound, lightning spewed out and Lin Xian's entire arm faintly glowed. With a boom, his fist smashed into the ground, instantly creating a large hole. Terrifying cracks spread out in all directions like a spider web. The valley trembled as if an earthquake had occurred. Zhao Shui was awakened again and stared blankly ahead. With Lin Xian as the center, the ground within a 50-meter radius cracked into countless pieces of earth and caved in. The power of a single strike was so terrifying. Lin Xian revealed a satisfied smile. The copper thunder mark on his arm disappeared, and he became no different from a normal person. Now, even a martial artist at the 4th sky of the spiritual sea realm wouldn't be able to block one of his punches. Lin Xian felt the energy in his body and was in a good mood. With a tap of his feet, he arrived in front of Zhao Shui. Let's go and check out the situation. Zhao Shui nodded blankly and followed behind Lin Xian. The two used their soul power to check out the surrounding terrain and planned out many escape routes. Moreover, they discovered that the Tsang and Yang families had set up arrays, presumably to control the Thunder Python. In the following days, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were either cultivating in the valley or checking out the situation. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. On Lin Xian's right arm, the thunder mark was even more concentrated. Now, with a single punch, he could shatter the ground within 70 meters. A martial artist at the 4th sky of the spiritual sea realm was nothing in front of him. Even a martial artist at the 5th sky of the spiritual sea realm might not be able to block one of his punches. Rumble! The sky darkened and countless black clouds floated by, gathering in the sky. In an instant, day turned into night. The black clouds pressed down on the mountains, making people feel stifled. Within the clouds, lightning flashed from time to time. As if a thunder dragon was rolling in the clouds, a terrifying aura spread out. Within 100 miles, all the demonic beasts were lying on the ground, trembling. Is it starting? Lin Xian looked at the sky and took a deep breath. Let's go. The two figures flashed and quickly left the valley. At the same time, the Tsang and Yang families started moving. Many martial artists stood in the array, waiting nervously. The Tsang families had elder and Yang families had both had solemn expressions, staring at the lightning in the sky and the figures in the cave. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck down like a heavenly blade, flattening the entire mountain. A terrifying sound spread out, and countless rocks scattered in the air. Everyone's pupils constricted. It was too terrifying. In front of the vast power of heaven and earth, everything seemed so insignificant. The 1,000-meter-tall mountain was mostly shaved off, revealing the situation in the cave. A 100-meter-long thunder python appeared in everyone's eyes. It was wrapped in blue electric arcs, its body constantly twisting as if in pain. Roar. In the sea of thunder a roar came. It was like a dragon's roar, but also like thunder. Everyone felt their eardrums tremble, and their blood roiled. The thunder beast's roar almost injured them. In the distance, 3 purple-robed men were running at high speed in Lin Xian. Suddenly, they stopped and raised their heads to look at the distant sky. There, dark clouds covered the sky and lightning flashed. The 3 of them were from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace. At this moment, they looked at each other. According to the display, the target is under the dark clouds. Let's go and take a look. The 3 of them turned into 3 streaks of purple light and rushed in the direction of the dark clouds. Under the dark clouds, the 100-meter-long thunder python roared again. Then a thin crack appeared on its head. Chapter 204. That aura was frightening. It had even surpassed the harmonious spirit realm. Fortunately, the thunder python was in a weakened state throughout the entire molting process and for a long period of time after. Otherwise, no one in the entire Xia kingdom would dare to have any ideas about it. The crack on the thunder python's head was getting bigger as if it was torn apart by an invisible force. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. With his excellent eye power, he could see that the new skin of the thunder python was very strange. Lightning flashed on it, making it look like a lightning lake. It is indeed a strange beast. Every time it metamorphoses, it will become stronger. Lin Xian praised in his heart. Humph! Do you think metamorphosis is so easy? Wine Lord snorted. If you can't withstand the lightning tribulation, you will die. Demonic beasts were much more dangerous than humans. Lin Xian was speechless. He raised his head and looked at the thunderclouds in the sky. Rumble. As if responding to Wine Lord's words, a thunder as thick as a bucket struck down, splitting the sky in half. The huge lightning struck the thunder python's body as if it was going to destroy the world. The whole mountain was blasted apart, turning into a flat land. The 100-meter-long thunder python roared towards the sky. A layer of protective lightning appeared on its body. The warriors of the Tsang and Yang families quickly retreated, afraid that they would be affected. The 2 harmonious spirit realm warriors also had a cold expression. They were extremely nervous. Don't be distracted. Focus on comprehending the power of heaven and earth. Wine Lord shouted. Lin Xian's body trembled as he stared at the scene in front of him. Compared to the lightning tribulation, his lightning technique was like child's play. Lin Xian exerted his soul power to the extreme. He tried his best to capture every movement of the lightning tribulation and the thunder python. Zhao Shui saw this scene and her heart trembled violently. Everyone else was worried about their lives, but this guy was actually comprehending martial arts. She was not Lin Xian, so she did not dare to stay too close. She could only find a safe place to hide temporarily. Thunder fell faster and faster. In the end, several of them fell together, forming a curtain of lightning. The thunder python's entire head had finished its metamorphosis. Its house-sized head emitted a terrifying aura. Roar! It opened its mouth and spat out a bolt of lightning, which formed an electric net that covered the sky. The sky full of lightning struck the electric net, forming a terrifying shockwave. Lin Xian stared at the bolts of lightning one after another, feeling the violent aura within them and verifying it with his own martial arts. The speed at which the thunder python shed its skin was extremely slow. Everyone could only wait anxiously. When it had retreated halfway, 3 powerful auras suddenly came from behind the forest. Not good. Zhao Shui's expression changed drastically, and she quickly rushed to Lin Xian's side. There from the Purple Extreme Devil Palace. Zhao Shui had no choice but to interrupt Lin Xian. Spreading out his soul power, Lin Xian sensed it, and then his face sank. Now is not the time to expose ourselves. Come with me. Lin Xian's body swayed as he ran towards the thunder python. You're crazy. Zhao Shui was so scared that her face turned pale. Seeing that Lin Xian's figure was about to disappear, she could only grit her teeth and follow him. When they were 2,000 meters away from the thunder python, Lin Xian stopped and found a cave. Here, the pressure from the thunder above them was even greater. Zhao Shui followed behind Lin Xian in fear, not even daring to breathe. Wine Lord, can you temporarily weaken the mark on my body? Lin Xian asked. Perhaps you can try using the mysterious ice chi, Wine Lord said in a deep voice. Lin Xian turned his head and said to Zhao Shui, "Stay away from me." What? Zhao Shui didn't understand Lin Xian's meaning. However, she quickly retreated in fear. Lin Xian's body turned ashen in an instant, and a wave of cold air emitted from his body. Layers of blue ice formed on his body, and the cold air quickly spread, turning the entire cave into a world of ice and snow. So cold. Zhao Shui had no choice but to circulate all her spiritual energy. There was only one explanation for Lin Xian's change, and that was to suppress the mark in his body so that the purple extreme demon palace couldn't find it. Outside in the forest, 3 purple-robed martial artists suddenly frowned. The target's aura suddenly weakened, and the mark in his body was also weakened. One of the purple-robed martial artists said, "Could it be that he removed the mark?" Another martial artist was puzzled. "Impossible. Other than our purple extreme demon palace, no one can remove the mark." "Stop guessing, let's go and take a look," the leading youth said in a deep voice. The 3 of them increased their speed and rushed over. Swish. A moment later, the 3 purple-robed martial artists arrived at a mountain peak. Seeing the distant thunder blade falling like a heavenly blade and the 100-meter-long lightning beast, the 3 of them trembled. What a terrifying thunder tribulation. It's actually a thunder python, and its outer skin is a top-grade thunder source. The 3 of them were burning with passion, and for a moment, they forgot to search for Lin Xian's location. In fact, the 3 of them couldn't be blamed. Even a harmonious spirit expert would covet it, let alone them. "Let's confirm the target's location first." The leading youth calmed down and said in a deep voice. The eyes of the 2 behind him flashed as they began to sense. After a few breaths, the 2 of them shook their heads. "We can only sense that he's nearby, but we can't confirm his exact location. It seems that he used some method to temporarily hide the mark." Another martial artist said. "What should we do now?" the 2 of them asked. "Since the target is here, we'll wait here." The leading youth smiled evilly. "Not to mention there's such a top-grade thunder source. If we're lucky, we might be able to get one. At that time, we'll be rich." The other 2 were also excited, and the 3 of them stared at the thunder python in the distance. The Tsong family and the Yang family naturally discovered the purple-robed martial artists. The Tsong family's head elder and the Yang family's head both sent out a group of people to clear the area. The 2 groups of people, each led by a martial artist at the 6th sky of Spirit Sea Realm, quickly approached the purple-robed martial artists and surrounded the 3 of them. "Where did this trash come from? Get lost!" The Tsong family's disciple shouted coldly. "You 3, since you've discovered the secret, then die." The Yang family's people also had a murderous look. The 2 groups of people quickly attacked. At such a crucial moment, they didn't want any accidents to happen. Thunder and lightning surged and sword chi crisscrossed. Plop! Plop! In the blink of an eye, more than half of the Tsong family and Yang family's disciples fell. Those people's faces were filled with fear, and their eyes were wide open as if they had seen something terrifying. What? The 2 martial artists at the 6th sky of Spirit Sea Realm were shocked, and stared at the 3 purple-robed martial artists cautiously. "Who are you people?" They didn't even see how the purple-robed martial artists attacked. "It's an eye technique." The Yang family's martial artist cried out, his expression very grave. The Tsong family's martial artist's body shook. He discovered that the 3 purple-robed martial artists' eyes were suffused with a purple light, which was abnormally demonic. Die for me." The Tsong family's martial artist at the 6th sky of Spirit Sea Realm punched out. Rich spirit power surged, condensing into a thunder tiger that pounced at the 3 people with bared fangs and brandished claws. "You 2 deal with the other one," the leading youth said coldly. The 3 people's bodies swayed, narrowly avoiding the attack. Chapter 205. Purple light flashed, and a vortex appeared in the purple-clothed youth's eyes, looking extremely demonic. The Tsong family's martial artist at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean realm stiffened, and confusion appeared in his eyes. His expression was one of struggle, as if he was drowning. Pooh! A purple light lit up, and the purple-clothed youth waved his long saber, splitting the Tsong family's martial artist in half. On the other side, the Yang family's martial artist's eyes also bulged, and he fell down unwillingly. A bunch of trash. A purple-clothed man sneered. Song family's head elder and young family's head both saw this scene. Their expressions changed drastically as they stared at the three purple-robed men, seemingly thinking about something. Could it be Shadow Country's purple extreme demon palace? Song family's head elder said in a low voice. Call everyone back and don't provoke those three. For a moment both families issued the same order. This action was tacitly acknowledging the existence of the three purple-clothed men. It seemed that in their eyes, purple extreme demon palace was not to be provoked. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui, who were hiding in the cave, also sensed this scene. Lin Xian's entire body was covered in ice, and no changes could be seen. But Zhao Shui's expression was very ugly. A martial artist at the sixth layer of the spiritual ocean realm was easily dealt with, so how powerful were those three people? In the sky lightning kept falling, and it was getting more and more intense. Half of the thunder python's skin had already peeled off, and new leather armor circulated with lightning shining brightly. He spat out a thunder curtain, blocking the lightning in the sky. Even so, it was still heavily injured. Roar! The lower half of its body was charred black, and there were bloody holes in some places. Lightning jumped on it, crazily tearing open the wounds. Hong long long. The lightning in the sky kept striking down, and the surroundings became a sea of lightning. The thunder python's body rolled, and its long tail twitched, creating deep pits in the ground. On its head, a protrusion gradually grew like a horn. It evolved. Everyone was shocked, staring blankly at this scene. That protrusion kept growing, and finally became a silver horn about half a meter long. Although it looked weak, the presence on it seemed to be able to crush everything. Like a thunder sword, it was going to pierce the sky. Rumble! The dark clouds in the sky churned and spun continuously, forming a huge black vortex. From the center of the vortex, a silver arc of electricity appeared. As soon as the silver lightning arc appeared, the sky seemed to be unable to withstand it and was about to split open. Boom! Silver lightning descended, illuminating half of the sky. The surrounding mountain peaks were all shattered, and violent winds blew within 1,000 meters. The momentum was extremely terrifying. The thunder python was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. It let out a miserable cry as it was struck by the silver flash. The whole process lasted for the time it took for an incense stick to burn before it slowly disappeared. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They were worried. This level of lightning was very likely to cause everything below to cease to exist. He couldn't have been struck to death, right? Everyone from the Tsong family was puzzled. It's even better if he's dead. As long as the thunder source is still here, we won't have come here in vain. The Tsong family's great elder clenched his fists. The huge whirlpool in the sky slowly dissipated. The black clouds drifted away, and the sky returned to normal. Everyone impatiently looked forward and saw the 100-meter-long thunder python weakly raising its head in the ruins. Its silver horn was shining brightly. Everyone's heart tightened. They then looked at the old skin that was peeling off. In the ruins there was a large piece of shining scales that looked like blue crystals. Great, it's fine. Everyone was obviously relieved when they saw that the thunder source was fine. However, in the next moment, the weak thunder python opened its mouth and bit the outer skin that was peeling off. Attack! The Tsong family and Yang family ordered at the same time. Everyone rushed forward. The three purple-clothed warriors also turned into three purple lights and rushed toward the thunder python. Zhao Shui was a little worried. She didn't move but looked at Lin Xian instead. Crack! Crack! The cold energy on Lin Xian's body weakened a little. The ice and snow on his head had already melted. Let them fight first. It's not that easy to get the thunder source, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Zhao Shui nodded. Then she carefully probed the area. The two harmonious spirit experts from the Tsong family and the Yang family were at the forefront. They flew in the sky, their powerful aura sweeping across the area. Set up the formation. The Tsong family's great elder and the Yang family's patriarch shouted at the same time. Boom! Bang! On the ground, hundreds of warriors quickly set up the formation. A terrifying aura spread out. On the Tsong family's side, the six-star lightning formation flashed. A 50-meter-long thunderbird flew out from the formation and screeched toward the sky. On the other side, the Yang family's people waved their flags. Countless heat waves surged and the ground shook. A stone man covered in fire stood up from the ground. Roar! The thunder python roared. Lightning overflowed from its body, shattering everything around it. The three behemoths looked at each other with hostility. Then they started to attack. The thunder python's mountain-like tail whipped at the stone man covered in fire. Its big mouth bit at the thunderbird in the sky. The three of them collided like a meteor hitting the ground, creating an earth-shattering sound. The whole forest was trembling. Lightning and fire intertwined, forming three light pillars that shot up to the sky. The warriors who were controlling the formation trembled and vomited blood. At this moment, the two harmonious spirit experts started to attack. A big hand with lightning dancing on it grabbed at the thunder crystal beside the thunder python. On the other side, a long spear turned into a fire dragon and stabbed out. Roar! The thunder python felt the danger and stood up. It had just gone through a lightning tribulation and was very weak. However, these despicable humans were not only strong, they could also set up a formation. The silver horn on its head suddenly rotated with silver light, forming circles of lightning runes. A silver-white energy ball appeared on the horn. It gradually grew bigger until it was the size of a millstone. A trace of aura like a lightning tribulation spread out, causing everyone's heart to beat faster. Bang! The thunder python's huge head turned. A beam of light burst out from the huge energy ball. It was like a lightning blade sweeping across everything. Boom! The thunderbird in the sky had one of its wings cut off. The stone man covered in fire was cut in half at the waist. The two harmonious spirit realm warriors ran away as fast as they could. However, the warriors on the ground were not so lucky. They were all submerged in the lightning. Bastard, you are courting death. The great elder of the Tsong family and the head of the Yang family were furious. The warriors on the ground were the elites of their families. Some of them were very young and some of them had great potential. They were all talented people who could be the pillars of their families. But now they were all dead. The spirit energy in their bodies surged as they attacked the thunder python fiercely. Old Yang, let's kill this bastard together. The great elder of the Tsong family gritted his teeth. He had decided to join forces with the Yang family. All right. The head of the Yang family was surrounded by flames. His long spear was like a long blade. The battle broke out. The two men and the beast fought together, overturning the whole forest. The ice on Lin Xian's body disappeared. His aura surged and his eyes flashed. Chapter 206. Song family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch were really angry this time. They attacked the thunder python crazily. The fire-red long spear and the huge thunder palm covered the sky, hitting the thunder python's body with a buzzing sound. The thunder python felt the pain and counterattacked. At the same time, it swung its thick tail like a mountain. Large amounts of thunder crystals were scattered on the ground. Song family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch attacked at the same time. Boom! The thunder python's skin was broken and scattered in all directions. Looking at the torn thunder crystal, Lin Xian's eyes were burning with passion. Hide yourselves well, Lin Xian instructed before dashing out at top speed. Behind him, Zhao Shui gritted her teeth and chose to stay in the cave. Although the thunder crystal was a good thing, it was too dangerous outside. Not only were there harmonious spirit realm experts, there were also people from the Purple Extreme Demon Palace. Moreover, Zhao Shui was not a lightning-attributed martial artist. Although the thunder crystal was precious, it was not as precious as her life. Lin Xian sensed that Zhao Shui did not follow him, but he was not surprised. He transmitted his voice. If there is danger, leave first. After saying that, he spread out his soul force and carefully checked the surroundings. He quickly rushed out. At the same time, there were 3 other martial artists in purple robes. They did not stay together, but ran towards a thunder crystal separately. Humph! I'll deal with you first. Lin Xian used the wind thunder step and followed the weakest martial artist. Among the ruins there was a thunder python skin the size of a table. It was crystal clear like a sapphire. A martial artist in purple robes carefully avoided the harmonious spirit realm experts in the sky and quietly approached. In the sky, Song family's great elder and Yang family's patriarch were entangled by the thunder python and could not be distracted. Go get the thunder crystal, they said to the disciples who were still alive. Originally, there were more than 100 people in the team, but now there were only 20 people left. They all ran towards the thunder crystal. Die! The martial artist in purple robes sneered. Purple light flashed in his eyes and controlled the 3 martial artists who were close to him. He then slashed his palm and 3 heads flew out. Swoosh! As soon as he finished, he felt a cold killing intent behind him. Whoosh! Twisting his body, the purple-clothed martial artist forcibly moved 3 meters to the left. He suddenly turned his head with a disdainful smile on his face. Humph, you want to play with me? His expression changed because there was no one behind him. Puff! A sharp blade pierced through his heart. Golden lightning surged and destroyed all the vitality in his body. He tried his best to turn his head around to see who it was. Unfortunately, he only saw a slender hand take away his storage ring. Then he blacked out and lost consciousness. Lin Xian pulled out the autumn scar sword. Blood flowed down the edge of the sword, but there was not a single trace of blood left on the blade. He took off the purple-robed man's purple robe and put it on himself. Then, he quickly put away the table-sized thunder python skin. This piece of thunder python skin was relatively small and in a remote location, so not many people paid attention to it. Therefore, Lin Xian's first attack went very smoothly. His entire body was hidden in the purple robe. His body floated like a ghost as he rushed toward another purple-robed man. Boom! A huge handprint appeared in front of him, creating a bottomless pit in the ground. Lin Xian's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He looked forward with a pale face. The other purple-robed man killed a few Tsong family disciples and put away a door-sized piece of thunder python skin into his storage ring. This whole process was seen by the head elder of the Tsong family in the sky. He immediately struck out a palm and killed the purple-robed man. The head elder of the Tsong family waved his hand, and the storage ring of the dead purple-robed man quickly flew toward him. Chi! A fiery red spear light flashed past, cutting off the connection between the storage ring and the head elder. Immediately, the storage ring fell to the ground. Yang Tian! The head elder of the Tsong family roared in anger. Hee, we are only temporarily working together. You don't really think that we are on the same side, do you? The leader of the Yang family grabbed the storage ring in his hand with a smile on his face. Get lost! 100-meter-long palm slapped out, covering the leader of the Yang family. Suddenly, countless lightning bolts fell. Break! The leader of the Yang family's spear was like a rainbow. Countless spear lights pierced through the palm in the sky. Roar! The thunder python demonic beast was not to be outdone. Silver lightning flashed on its tail, forming a long electric saw that slashed at the two of them. The battle became more intense. The surviving leader of the purple-robed men kept dodging and quickly came to the front of a 10-meter-long thunder python skin. A sinister smile appeared on his face, and he quickly struck. Boom! 100-meter-long spear light flew from the sky at extreme speed. The leader of the purple-robed men's eyes flashed with purple light, and he quickly retreated. Chi! 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 A 1,000-meter-long crack appeared at the place where he was originally standing. The purple-robed young man's face was gloomy. He did not dare to strike again, but looked gloomily at the sky. Obviously, this spear was a warning. However, he would not give up. Whoosh! Lin Xian came near with his purple robe draped over him. At this time, no one would be suspicious, and no one would pay attention to him. Help me attract their attention. I will go and get the thunder crystal. The purple-robed young man said coldly. Lin Xian nodded and quickly rushed forward. In an instant he arrived near the crack. In the blink of an eye, he went straight for the thunder python skin. Humph! A cold snort sounded in the sky like a sudden clap of thunder. Don't think that I won't dare to kill someone from the purple demon palace. The spear light flew out like a dragon emerging from the sea, piercing towards Lin Xian. When the Yang family head took the initiative, Lin Xian began to dodge. After all, he did not really want to take the thunder python skin. Boom! 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 The spear light roared and pierced into the ground, forming a 10-meter-wide crater. As for Lin Xian, he was only 3 meters away from the crater. Cold sweat flowed down his face. If he had been a little slower, he would have died here. When Lin Xian made his move, the purple-robed young man also moved quickly. When the Yang family head attacked Lin Xian, The purple-robed young man quickly ran for the thunder python skin. Whoosh! Finally he succeeded this time. Go! He called out to Lin Xian and ran into the distance. Courting death. In the sky, the Yang family head and Song family had both launched terrifying attacks. However, the two of them were restrained by the thunder python and were wary of each other. Their attacks were not strong and their accuracy was not high. On the contrary, Lin Xian and the purple-robed young man were soul force experts, and they had been paying attention to the movements in the sky. Thus, they managed to avoid the attack by a hair's breadth. Seeing the two of them leave, the Song family head and Yang family head did not chase after them. After all, that was only a small piece. The real head was still beside the thunder python. The thunder python seemed to understand their thoughts. Its silver eyes turned, and it suddenly turned its head, biting down on the remaining thunder python skin. Crack! The 80-meter-long thunder python skin was reduced by half. Evil beast, you are courting death. Chapter 207. The purple-robed youth snatched a thunder crystal and immediately fled. Lin Xian followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were far away from the battlefield. We didn't come in vain this time. Wait for us. Before he could finish, Lin Xian suddenly attacked. The great dragon sword intent surged and a shocking killing intent surged. A sword ray flashed past like a shooting star, extremely dazzling. Ding! Puff! The purple-robed youth's expression changed and he immediately dodged. The sword ray flashed and slashed across his chest, stabbing his arm. He was wearing an inner armor, which barely blocked Lin Xian's sword. However, the sword pierced his arm. With a puff, his right arm broke and blood gushed out uncontrollably. Lin Xian's palm sucked and removed the broken arm, quickly removing the storage ring on it. The purple-robed youth was heavily injured. He quickly sealed his broken arm and stared at Lin Xian. You? Purple light flashed in his eyes, as if he had suddenly discovered something. So you're the target we've been looking for. His voice carried a trace of gloom. Good. Very good. The purple-robed youth panted. It's been a long time since anyone dared to offend our purple demon palace. Purple demon purgatory. He suddenly shouted and the purple light in his eyes intensified, enveloping Lin Xian. In the next moment, the surrounding scene changed drastically. Mountains of corpses and rivers of blood. There was killing everywhere just like hell. 5 crimson chains flew towards Lin Xian, wanting to bind him. Humph! Enter my spiritual space. I'll torture you to death. The purple-robed youth's face was hideous like a demon, devouring bugs. Countless bugs swarmed towards Lin Xian's body, gnawing at his soul. Slowly enjoy the pain of your soul. I'll kill you bit by bit. The purple-robed youth's soul appeared in the spiritual space. Swish! Sword rays surged and the bugs on Lin Xian's body were cut into pieces. Clang! The chains binding Lin Xian broke. What? The purple-robed youth was shocked, his face filled with disbelief. Impossible, this is impossible. This is my spiritual space, how can you escape? He didn't believe that he was the master of this spiritual space. Unless the other party's soul power far exceeded his, they would not be able to break through his spiritual space. However, he had sensed that Lin Xian's soul power was not as strong as his. Nothing is impossible. It's just that you're too inexperienced. Lin Xian sneered. A translucent sword chi surged out from his body and slashed at the purple-robed young man's soul. Sword of Souls. How do you know the Sword of Souls? The purple-robed youth was completely terrified. This kind of method was too terrifying. Even in the purple extreme devil palace, there were few who knew how to use it. Puff! Puff! The soul sword slashed down and soon destroyed the purple-robed young man's soul. Whoosh! With a thought, Lin Xian returned to his body. All of this happened in an instant. The purple-robed youth's body was still there, but his soul had already been destroyed. With a flick of his finger, a bolt of lightning shot out and circled around the purple-robed youth's body before exploding. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. He had obtained more than 10 meters of lightning python skin, but he still felt that it was not enough. Cultivating the lightning rune body required a large amount of lightning source. This was a rare opportunity. You still want to go? Wine Lord transmitted his voice. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian nodded. His body turned into a ray of light and returned the way he came. The Tsang family Grand Elder and the Yang family head attacked crazily, causing the lightning python's injuries to worsen. It attacked with its horn again, and a silver lightning beam swept past the two. The Tsang family Grand Elder and the Yang family head coughed up blood and were in a sorry state. One more time. The Tsang family Grand Elder circulated his spiritual energy to the extreme and flew out like lightning. On the other side, the Yang family head merged with his spear, leaving a 1,000-meter-long tail of light in the air. Boom! Bang! The two arrived in front of the lightning python, grabbed the remaining lightning python skin, and tore it apart. Rip! The Tsang family Grand Elder obtained about 20 meters of lightning python skin, and the Yang family head also obtained a piece. With the items in their hands, the two did not stop and ran into the distance. Roar! The demonic beast lightning python was obviously angry. That was its old skin and its food. Now it was taken away by the despicable humans, and it was even seriously injured. Lightning surged on its body, and silver lightning arcs intertwined and gathered at the silver horn on its head. Whoosh! A lightning beam shot out from the horn, shooting straight into the sky. Clouds and mist surged, rolling and churning. The sky darkened for a moment, and two huge vortexes formed high up in the sky. Rumble! Silver light flashed, and two thick lightning bolts shot out from the whirlpools, striking the Tsang family Grand Elder and the Yang family head respectively. Boom! 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 Lightning flashed between heaven and earth, and terrifying energy spread in all directions. Two screams sounded and the air trembled. When the lightning dissipated, the clothes of the two men in the sky were torn, their hair was disheveled, and blood was spurting out from their chests. The Tsang family Grand Elder quickly flew into the distance. Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and he quietly followed him. He could clearly see the situation in the sky through his purple spirit eyes. The Tsang family Grand Elder's body was flying up and down, obviously unable to control his speed. Looks like this old man is seriously injured. Lin Xian was delighted. Little Xian, a harmonious spirit expert, is not something you can deal with right now. Even if he is seriously injured, you can't kill him. Don't worry, Wine Lord. I don't want to kill him yet. I just want to get the lightning crystal. Lin Xian transmitted. His whereabouts? Lin Xian's eyes flashed, and he couldn't help but speed up. The Tsang family's great elder's injuries were indeed not light. Originally, he was already injured, but after being struck by lightning, his injuries became even more serious. The loss this time is too great. The Tsang family Grand Elder's face was gloomy. All the elites he brought were dead, and he only managed to get 20 meters of lightning crystal. I hope these lightning python skins can help me reach the mid-harmonious spirit realm. A trace of expectation appeared in his heart. Chi. A sword chi suddenly rushed forward, slashing towards his chest. Humph! The Tsang family Grand Elder coldly snorted, and with a light grab of his palm, he extinguished the sharp sword chi. Get out here now! He shouted loudly, his voice shaking the surroundings. Lin Xian sighed. A harmonious spirit expert was indeed powerful. Even if he was injured, he was still not someone a Sea of Soul Realm warrior could handle. Swoosh! Lin Xian's body swayed and he stood out. Purple Extreme Devil Palace. The Tsang family Grand Elder's pupils shrank when he saw the purple-robed man in front of him. I'll give you one chance, get out of here now. Otherwise, don't blame this old man for starting a massacre. The Tsang family Grand Elder's voice was cold. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he wouldn't provoke the purple Extreme Devil Palace. Old bastard! Lin Xian snorted in his heart. He flipped his palm, and a yellow talisman treasure appeared in his hand. A yellow sword light slashed out like a rainbow. Wherever it passed, the void trembled as if it was about to split open. This sword caused the surroundings to change color. Chapter 208. The power of this sword was close to the peak of Sea of Soul Realm, far beyond Lin Xian's strength. However, it was still not enough to face the Tsang family's great elder. Try to use your soul power to deal with him. Wine Lord transmitted his voice. Lin Xian nodded. Purple light flashed in his eyes, and a strange inscription appeared in his right eye. His left eye turned into a sword-shaped inscription. Soul Cage. Soul Sword. Lin Xian used all the soul techniques he knew. At the same time, he took out his bronze gauntlet and attacked again. This series of actions happened in an instant. It could be said that all these attacks hit the Tsang family's great elder at the same time. Normally, the Tsang family's great elder wouldn't care about these attacks, but now that he was injured, his strength was affected. Moreover, there was a strange soul attack, so he had to be careful. He snorted coldly, and a dazzling light quickly appeared on his body, covering his whole body. Different from the spirit armor formed by Sea of Soul Realm warriors, the light screen formed by a harmonious spirit expert far surpassed the former in both range and degree of defense. Bang! 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 The sword light and the bronze light hit the dazzling light screen, creating ripples. However, the soul attack went straight through. Humph! The Tsang family's great elder let out a muffled groan. He was in a trance, but as a harmonious spirit expert, his soul power was not ordinary. Lin Xian's attack only caused him to be in a trance, but it didn't cause any substantial damage. Powerful indeed. Lin Xian sighed in his heart. He had used almost all of his techniques, but he still couldn't hurt the great elder. Whoosh! The great elder waved his hand, and a big hand made of lightning fell down. Swoosh! Lin Xian used his extreme speed to dodge the attack. However, the purple robe on his body was torn apart. Little bastard, it's you. The Tsang family's grand elder's face twisted when he saw Lin Xian. Old man, it's me. Lin Xian laughed coldly. Was he surprised? Little thief, you can't hurt me. The Tsang family's great elder gritted his teeth and said, Today, I'll use you as a sacrifice to my Tsang family's disciples. Lightning surged from his hand, forming a lightning chain that rattled in the air. Whoosh! 3 lightning chains formed a triangle and flew out quickly, binding Lin Xian. Ha 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 ha! The Tsang family's great elder laughed. Little thing, let me see what secrets you have. With a flick of his wrist, the lightning chain brought Lin Xian back. The Tsang family's grand elder was delighted. Lin Xian had many secrets on him, such as that golden lightning. Even his heart was moved. With the golden lightning, I will definitely be able to enter the mid-harmonious spirit realm. He grabbed Lin Xian with one hand. Humph! A mocking smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. Little thing, you dare to laugh at me? I'll let you have a taste of the harmonious spirit realm. Before he could finish his words, the Tsang family's great elder's body suddenly trembled. He felt an inexplicable coldness. Ka-ka-ka! A trace of blue gas was emitted from Lin Xian's body, emitting a strange cold energy. In a flash, the Tsang family's great elder's arm was covered with a thick layer of ice, and this cold energy quickly spread to every part of his body. Whoosh! Lin Xian's sword intent surged, forming an invisible sword energy that cut off the lightning chain. His body quickly retreated. The Tsang family's great elder didn't pay attention to Lin Xian. He was in big trouble. This cold chi not only froze his body, but also froze the spirit energy and soul in his body. This little thief, how can he have this kind of thing? He was irritated and kept urging his spirit energy to resist the cold energy. Seeing that the mysterious ice chi couldn't freeze the Tsang family's great elder, Lin Xian frowned. He still underestimated the power of a harmonious spirit realm warrior. He waved his autumn scar sword, and the power of wind and thunder formed a sharp wind thunder spike, hitting the Tsang family's great elder. Ding ding! The autumn scar sword emitted a burst of sparks, as if it had hit an iron wall. So hard! Lin Xian clenched his teeth. The Tsang family's great elder was trying his best to resist the coldness in his body, and didn't have the extra energy to care about Lin Xian. Lin Xian's previous attack could only leave a shallow mark on his body. Although it didn't affect his body, it still made him extremely angry. An ant in the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm dared to be disrespectful to him. What are you looking at? Lin Xian couldn't do anything to him, and was extremely frustrated. Fuck, still looking. Lin Xian raised his leg and kicked the Tsang family's great elder's face. Instantly, a shoe print appeared on that old face. Fuck, so thick-skinned? Lin Xian already hated the Tsang family to the bone, and this time he could finally take revenge. Clang clang clang. He kept raising his feet, leaving shoe prints on the Tsang family's great elder's face. Although it couldn't hurt him, this feeling was too good. This scene was seen by Zhao Shui, who had just arrived. Her small mouth opened into an O shape, and her pair of beautiful eyes were wide open. Heavens, what is Lin Xian doing? He dared to kick a harmonious spirit realm warrior, and it's a crazy kick. You're here. Lin Xian once again stepped on the Tsong family's great elder's face, and he even used some strength. The Tsong family's great elder felt like his lungs were about to explode, and his old face turned purple. How many years had it been? Ever since he became a harmonious spirit realm warrior, no one dared to be disrespectful to him. But now, a trash that he regarded as an ant dared to treat him like this. Little bastard, when I catch you, I will break all the bones in your body and torture you to death bit by bit. Clang! Lin Xian kicked again. How dare you threaten this young master? Not good, retreat quickly. Wine Lord suddenly transmitted his voice. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he immediately pulled Zhao Shui to retreat. Boom! Within 10 meters, countless lightning bolts surged and danced crazily, shattering everything. When the lightning disappeared, a terrifying crater appeared on the ground. Everything in the surroundings was scorched, emitting a burnt smell. The Tsong family's great elder's attack was immediately invaded by the profound ice chi, and half of his body was frozen. Old man, you still dare to fight back at this moment? Lin Xian was very angry. He was almost injured just now. Thinking about how the Tsong family tried to assassinate him several times and wanted his life, he felt a burst of anger. You brought this upon yourself. I have no enmity with you, but your Tsong family tried to kill me several times. Humph! In this world, the strong are respected. You don't deserve to have those treasures. The Tsong family's great elder's lips moved slightly. The strong are respected? Lin Xian laughed. Slap. He raised his hand and slapped him fiercely. Fuck the strong. Lin Xian growled. Among my peers, no one in your Tsong family can defeat me. You're an old man who has lived for hundreds of years, but you still fell into my hands. In an instant, he slapped the Tsong family's great elder's face hundreds of times. One day, I will personally go to your Tsong family and uproot you. Lin Xian did not attack again. He looked at the storage ring. Unfortunately, the Tsong family's great elder clenched his fist and could not take it out. If I can't have it, I can't let you have it either. Lin Xian's heart was filled with hatred. He placed the bronze gauntlet on the storage ring and quickly retreated. Boom! Chapter 209. As the green light dissipated, a 100-meter deep pit appeared on the ground. In the center of the pit, the Tsong family's great elder sat with a gloomy expression. Half of his body was covered in azure mystic ice chi, while the other half was lightning spirit power. The two were resisting each other. On his right hand, the storage ring on his index finger cracked. This was an intermediate storage ring with a space of 100 square meters. Its value was even more expensive than a spirit rank martial art. But now it was broken. The Tsong family's great elder's eyes burned with anger. He wished he could tear Lin Xian into countless pieces. 2 hours later, the mystic ice chi on his body disappeared. Ah! Little bastard, get out here. His voice was like a sea of thunder that rolled out. It could be heard clearly within 100 miles. However, he couldn't sense Lin Xian's existence at all. Whoosh! The Tsong family's great elder turned into a stream of light and flew through the mountains. Any mountain that he found suspicious was smashed with a palm. In an instant, more than a dozen mountains were flattened. However, Lin Xian never appeared. The Tsong family's great elder madly vented in the sky. The terrifying energy didn't dissipate for a long time. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui had already escaped the forest and rushed towards the fire province. A day later, the two arrived at the border of the fire province. After entering the fire province, the two heaved a sigh of relief. They could feel the Tsong family's great elders roar and terrifying venting. If they were caught, one could imagine what would happen. In the fire province, the air was hot and dry. It was as if there was a huge furnace barbecuing. In fact, it was almost the same. The fire province had many volcanoes and fire veins underground, causing the climate here to be very hot. Lin Xian was wearing a blue robe. He had mystic ice chi in his body, so it wasn't very hot. As for Zhao Shui, she changed into a cool short-sleeved shirt. Her jade-like arms were exposed, causing people to daydream. Lin Xian came to an uninhabited volcano, and prepared to go into seclusion. He wanted to refine the thunder crystal to stimulate the cultivation of the copper thunder mark. After digging a human-shaped cave, Lin Xian went in. He released the little white monkey and had it and Zhao Shui stand guard outside. After setting up the defenses in the cave, Lin Xian flipped his palm and a table-sized thunder python skin appeared in his hand. It was about a foot thick, like pieces of sapphires pieced together. Lin Xian touched it lightly with his finger and felt a strong power of thunder and lightning. Grabbing the thunder python skin with both hands, Lin Xian began to cultivate the copper thunder pattern. This time he wanted to cultivate his left hand. Strands of pure thunder power surged out from the thunder python skin. Its aura was extremely terrifying. This power was much stronger than the thunder grass. Ka-ka-ka. Terrifying cracks appeared on the surrounding mountain walls from the overflowing lightning, as if they had been hacked by swords and sabers. The blue lightning covered Lin Xian's left hand, and a violent energy instantly rushed into his body. It was like a mad dragon that was rampaging through his body. Suppress. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Golden electric arcs came out of his body and formed a lightning chain, trapping the violent power of thunder and lightning. At the same time, he used the thunder pattern body secret technique, and used the power of thunder and lightning to continuously temper his body. As time passed, the power of thunder and lightning weakened. The thunder python skin gradually dimmed, and cracks appeared in some places. However, Lin Xian's left arm was getting stronger and stronger. It was as if a shocking power was awakening. Feeling the power in his left arm, Lin Xian nodded slightly. He separated some thunder and lightning and tempered his right arm again. Ha! A 1-meter-long crack appeared on the table-sized thunder python skin, causing it to break in half. Lin Xian knew that this was because the power of thunder and lightning inside had been exhausted. He exerted a little force with both hands, and the thunder python skin in his hand turned into powder. With a thought, the power of thunder and lightning flowed quickly on his arm. It faintly emitted a blue light, as if thousands of thunder were roaring. Continue to cultivate. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He took out the thunder python skin that was more than 10 meters long. Next is my legs. Lin Xian followed the instructions. After 2 hours, his legs also emitted the light of thunder and lightning. At this moment, more than half of the thunder python skin was left. He continued to absorb the power of thunder and lightning. When the last piece of skin on his body was covered by the thunder pattern, a rumbling sound came from his body. An unusually comfortable feeling flowed through Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's face was full of enjoyment, and he almost snorted out loud. At this moment, the thunder python skin in his hand had completely shattered. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he appeared outside the cave. Wuji wuji. When the little white monkey saw Lin Xian, it jumped directly onto his shoulder. Lin Xian was slightly surprised. This little monkey actually ignored his power of thunder and lightning. However, Zhao Shui was not so lucky. She was oppressed by Lin Xian's aura, and her face turned pale. Lin Xian roared at the sky and punched out. The mountain rocks shattered, and the 100-meter-tall mountain peak was smashed. Zhao Shui covered her mouth in shock. This kind of strength was probably very close to the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. And Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Not bad, it wasn't in vain that I risked my life to snatch it, Lin Xian said with a smile. Let's go. I need a fire attribute spirit fruit. I don't know if Fire Province has it. The two hurried and arrived at a nearby city. Flame City. The entire city wall was built with fiery red stones, emitting a shocking heat. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui found an inn and stayed. They had been on the move these few days, and their bodies and minds were somewhat tired. Lin Xian relaxed his mind and had a good sleep. The next day he woke up naturally, feeling his entire body brimming with energy. His body already recovered to its peak state. Pushing open the door, Lin Xian walked downstairs, preparing to eat breakfast. His gaze swept and found Zhao Shui, but his brows furrowed slightly. In a place near the inside of the hall on the first floor, Zhao Shui sat quietly. But beside her were several youths, surrounding her with shining eyes. The few people's expressions rippled, not knowing what they were talking about. Lin Xian sighed and walked over. He had long sensed that Zhao Shui was different. Her ocular arts leaned toward charm arts, making her carry a strange attraction. Lin Xian's soul was powerful and was not affected at all, but it might not be the same for others, especially those martial artists with weak willpower, unable to resist at all. Rubbing the snow-white little monkey's head, Lin Xian slowly came to Zhao Shue's side, then slowly sat down. "You're awake," Zhao Shue said with a smile. This smile made the charm on her body even more intense, and the few young men nearby started to drool. "So beautiful, so beautiful," the youths muttered. "Kid, who let you sit here? Hurry up and scram." One of the youths shouted coldly. "That's right, what does this have to do with you? Hurry up and scram." The others echoed, "Wuji wuji." The snow-white little monkey made funny faces at them and stuck out its tongue. "Damn it, where did this stinky monkey come from, daring to be disrespectful to us?" Chapter 210. The young man's face was pale, and his eyes were unfocused. It was obvious that he was addicted to wine and women. Even so, he was still at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, which meant that his identity was not ordinary. His 5 fingers formed into claws with flames dancing on them, and he grabbed at the little white monkey. "Wuji wuji." The little white monkey looked at him with disdain, and with a swoosh it disappeared. When it reappeared, it had already jumped onto the young man's face, waving its claws and scratching wildly. Chi-chi. In an instant, countless bloody scars appeared on the young man's face. It was a horrible sight. "Ah!" He suddenly retracted his hand and screamed in pain. The little white monkey jumped back onto Lin Xian's shoulder in a flash. "Wuji wuji." The little monkey pointed at them, as if warning them not to provoke it. So fast. The surrounding martial artists were alarmed, and they looked at Lin Xian and the others in shock. How dare he provoke the people of Xing Manor? This young man is going to be unlucky. Someone shook his head and sighed. "Ah, my face, my face." The young man covered his face and screamed, "Give me a mirror." The attendant beside him immediately took out a silver mirror and said with a trembling voice, Young master. Cut the fucking crap. Hurry up and give it to me." The young man screamed and snatched the mirror. In the mirror, his face was like a field that had been plowed. It was a horrible sight. "Ah! How dare you ruin my face? I'll kill you." The young man screamed crazily, but he did not dare to attack. Behind him, the attendant was also glaring at him angrily. The others looked at Lin Xian coldly. "Kid, how dare you hurt Xing Manor's young master Xingtong? I think you're tired of living." At this moment, Zhao Shui spoke slowly. "Young masters, I'm really sorry." Her voice was like a spring breeze, causing ripples in everyone's hearts. Don't worry, beautiful lady. This has nothing to do with you. We can all testify." The other young men patted their chests and said. The young man who was captured looked at Zhao Shui and said, "As long as you're willing to spend a night with me, I'll let this kid go. Otherwise, just wait for your deaths." Lin Xian smiled but didn't say anything. Although Zhao Shui looked weak, she was also a decisive person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to survive the Purple Extreme Devil Palace's pursuit for so long. Sure enough, after hearing this, Zhao Shui's smile deepened. Her eyes were like water as she took a deep look at the young man who was caught. Xingtong's scratched face suddenly glowed red like a ripe apple. "Hot, so hot." He tore off his clothes and pounced on the body of the young man beside him. His hands roamed around and his mouth was full of kisses. "Fuck you, pervert." That disciple sent Xingtong flying with a slap and tidied up his clothes. The other youths also felt a chill run down their spines. They didn't expect Xingtong to actually like this. "Damn it. I was wondering why the way he looked at me the other day was weird." As if possessed, Xingtong pounced on the servant behind him and kissed him repeatedly. The surrounding warriors were all stunned. Looking at the erotic scene on the ground, their expressions were very interesting. Seeing that the situation wasn't right, the owner of the inn hurried to recruit more people. Not long after, a group of people rushed over angrily. The surrounding crowd dispersed and looked at them with some fear. The person in the lead was a burly man. He was almost 2 meters tall and seemed to be burning with fire as he walked. When he saw the situation on the ground, his eyes widened and he slapped Xingtong unconscious. "What happened?" the burly man asked in a deep voice. He knew that although Xingtong was addicted to wine and women, He was still able to distinguish between men and women. Someone must have done something secretly. The surrounding warriors all lowered their heads, not daring to say anything. The young men who were with Xing Tong recounted what had happened. A woman who knows charm techniques and a young man with a monkey? The burly man frowned. He had never heard of these two people in the Jianghu. Where are they? The burly man asked in a deep voice. There. They turned around and found that Lin Xian and Zhao Shui were long gone. A bunch of trash. The burly man's eyes were cold. Search the entire city and capture them. They actually dared to touch the people of Xing Manor. Looks like they don't know how to write the word death. Yes, the warriors behind the burly man said respectfully. On the wide street, Lin Xian and Zhao Shui walked quickly. Fire Province, Shadow Country, and Rain Country are neighbors. The forces here are very complicated. We can go to the Inscription Union to take the Inscription Master test. As long as we pass, normal forces won't dare to provoke us. Zhao Shui said slowly. Inscription Union? Lin Xian touched his chin. He had heard of this organization before. Everyone in the Union was an inscription master. Moreover, this organization didn't belong to Xia country. They were in other nearby countries. It could be said that they had a strong background and no one dared to provoke them. Okay. Lin Xian nodded. But I want to wait for a few days. I feel that my soul power is about to break through. Zhao Shui's mouth twitched. Another breakthrough? Are you kidding me? Are you trying to hurt me? Lin Xian was about to break through. He had been using the mysterious ice qi to temper his soul these few days. His progress was very fast. He only needed an opportunity to break through to become a second seal inscription master. In the center of Flame City, there was a volcano that was 1,000 meters tall. This volcano had been modified by an inscription master. Not only would it not erupt anymore, but it had also become a holy land for cultivation. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui came here and decided to cultivate for a few days. At the foot of the volcano there were many cultivation rooms. Lin Xian looked around. There were a total of 5 floors. The lower they went, the more expensive it was. Lin Xian and Zhao Shui chose 2 cultivation rooms on the 3rd floor. They paid the spirit stones and received the keys. The cultivation room on the 3rd floor cost 1,000 low-grade spirit stones a day. It could be said that the price was very expensive. However, Lin Xian had nearly 2 million low-grade spirit stones on him. This amount of money was nothing to him. After paying the fee for 5 days, the two walked towards the cultivation room. The lower they went, the higher the temperature. The temperature on the 3rd floor was as high as a few hundred degrees. It was like a huge furnace. Lin Xian had the Copper Thunder rune and could still withstand it. Zhao Shui had already propped up her spirit energy armor. It's just right for me to cultivate. Lin Xian opened the door and walked in. The facilities inside were very simple. Lin Xian did not care about this. After all, the warriors who came here were all here to cultivate and not to enjoy. There was a brown stone in the center. There were 8 bowl-sized holes around it. Lava was boiling inside. This cultivation room made use of the underground flame vein. Wine Lord transmitted. Flame vein. Lin Xian did not understand. Yes, the reason why there are so many volcanoes in the Fire Province is because there is a flame vein underground. Wine Lord slowly said. This is a type of mutated spirit vein. It contains 5 times more spirit energy than ordinary places. Especially the fire attribute spirit energy. It is almost materialized. Indeed, Lin Xian could see traces of fiery red mist floating in the room with his naked eye. It was like a thin red line. Whoosh! He came to the brown stone platform and sat cross-legged.